The following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
Well, good morning, and welcome on in. This might be hard to believe, but I'm actually playing the piano for this song live right now. Sorry, it's just hard to concentrate when I'm slapping the keys with ease. You know what I mean? It's going to be such a good day. I can just tell. It's going to be good, my nerdventure. You know what I mean? It's going to be good. How you guys doing? How was the weekend? Did you guys do anything super cool? Was there anything really super cool that happened? Enjoy the 4th? Have a good time? 4th of July-ing, as they say. What up, what up? What up, everybody, what up? Oh, no, it's Chipmunk. It's Chipmunk Josh. I think we should leave it. Okay, before we fix it. Okay, listen, Linda, before we fix it, I thought about this, and I was thinking, if this happens again, just hear me out. What are some really funny takes or things that I should say while I'm in chipmunk voice? Like, what? I was just like, what are some, like, what should I say? Like, what are some things that what do you think? Do you have any good ideas? My name is Doom. Should I just be, well, you know, the problem with the Marvel leaks is, you know, like, what would be funny with this voice? I'll do the whole goddamn show like this, to be honest with you. I don't really care. I don't hear it. Y'all hear it. You know what I mean? I don't hear it. My name is Doom. The Russo's back, and they're gonna save Marvel. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. The Russo's back. Adam, what the fuck does that even mean? My voice always matches my hands. What the fuck are you, Adam? Should I complain about, James Gunn or something? Like, what would be good with this voice? Philip says, the latest Odyssey trailer getting ratioed and shat on in the comments. Yeah, no, and I think we should take this opportunity, since it's very serious. Let's talk about the Odyssey. No, I mean, I don't really have much to say. Can I just say this, though? I'm tempted to, like, speak even higher voice, but I don't know if that'll do anything, because it's already, like, really whack or whatever. I just want to say, I was a day one Odyssey hater, and I hated it way before all this other stuff. And yes, a lot of this stuff is super stupid. Like, I just saw a comment that Lapita made that I was just like, bro, like, why does it have to be like this? Like, why do we have to, like, prove the chuds right by people just being so insufferably fucking annoying and dumb? Like, did you see the comments she made? Where it's like, well, if I could talk to Homer, I'd be like, hey, Homer, why didn't you, like, consider the female perspective or something. It's like, I don't know, maybe because y'all always talk like this and are annoying as fuck. If that's what the female perspective is, I think we could skip it, frankly. It's just a little, I don't know quite what the word is for it. Cunty comes to mind. You know what I mean? Cunty. I don't know if that's in the dictionary or not. Maybe people will be really offended by that. But that's the only word I can think of with my chipmunk voice brain is that she was acting cunty. Anyway, point is this. I was very early on fuck that movie, dog. Yo, fuck that movie. And not even because of all this other stupid shit, but like, Homer is frankly Greek slop. We should be talking more about Plato and the stuff that Solon learned about. That's way more interesting. The Homer and the Iliad, it's all, I think it's all, anyway. Dave! Alright, one more thing, one more spicy take in the chipmunk voice, and then I'm gonna change it. What's another spicy, what else should we say? What else would be funny? Any other commentary that I should give in my chipmunk voice? Talk bad about James Gunn. I don't know what else there is to say about James Gunn, you know? I feel like I've said pretty much everything there needs to be said about this guy. I will say because I actually do have it in my notes here, to shit on Supergirl, so we will shit on Supergirl properly. I'll take the chipmunk voice off, we'll get really serious, we'll lock in, and we'll shit all over Supergirl one more time. Maybe for the last time, we'll see. But obviously, the thing that's really crazy about Gunn is that article that came out on Friday, I think, about how there were competing cuts of the movie. I mean, why did it... It feels similar to the Lapita thing, in a sense, where, you know, like, a lot of people's criticism of Gunn and everything has been, like, a very brutish Cro-Magnon version of something that's actually accurate. Why does he have to prove those people right? Like, it feels like he said all this shit about how we're never going to move forward unless it's a script. We're going to be creator-driven, and every director will have control of their own project, and all this shit. And, like, none of that happened. He's just doing what Hollywood's done for 100 years and fucked it all up. And I don't know what kind of sympathy we're supposed to have for this guy, and clearly not a lot of people do. I don't know if you've noticed this, but, like, people are being very fucking mean to him. And, you know, it's funny because, and I'm almost done. I'll change the voice back, okay? But just hang on. Just let Chipmunk Josh make one more fucking point, okay? I got one more point about Chipmunk Gas. Pause. My neighbors are probably like, what the fuck? Alright, anyway. We're actually going to talk a little bit later about some of the insiders and the scoopers and the leaking cabal and how there's kind of like different factions within it, okay? And I was thinking a lot about this actually because it will help us to make sense of the leaks and the reports. It's good to like know the messenger and understand the bias that's coming through the messaging, okay? But, bro, that group may be divided, but I'll tell you what, they're super united on how much they fucking hate James Gunn, dude. I don't know if you noticed, but like, I noticed because I actually talked to some of these people. Pretty unanimous. Like, I can't really find many in the leaker, scooper cabal, and a lot of these people actually are, you know, trade reporters or people connected that are under, you know, pseudonames or anon accounts and shit. I can't really find a lot of people defending this guy or wanting to help this guy in any way. It's actually crazy because he pretty much pissed off everybody inside that whole thing. That's like an accomplishment. And to be honest with you, this is probably why I dislike him so much. Because he's a lot like me. He has this uncanny ability to piss off everybody. Like, he can fucking piss off everybody in a select group and shit like that. It's crazy! It's crazy! Alright, let's go back to normal voice. Hang on now. I'm sorry, goodbye. Chipmunk Josh says goodbye. And thank you, Ader Chase, for the gifted memberships, man. Thank you.
Hello? Hello? Is it back? Is it fixed? Is it fixed? Should I do a recording and test it myself because I can't trust you guys? Go back to Chipmunk. See, now I know it's back. Sounds the same. Bro, I was lost. The Alvin Chipmunk's brother for a minute there. I like the other voice better. Yeah, I bet. All right, now, listen, Linda. Listen. It's going to be an awesome week, guys. I'm pumped, man. I'm already vibing out, having a good time. We're going to talk today about the Secret Wars and the Doomsday leaks because, brother, I got to tell you, I did a little digging. I did some meditating. I remote viewed into Parliament around Marvel and found out all their secrets. And the truth is like crazy, dude. And what I thought was impossible, especially with the Secret Wars leaks, I actually think are real. But there's a lot of caveats. There's a lot of context. There's a lot of things that I want to get into with regards to that. And this is truly a unique kind of time because we're sort of getting more information about Doomsday and we're getting more information about Secret Wars, and we can really start to see what these movies are going to be like in a sense. Okay, so like I couldn't stop thinking about these fucking leaks basically since Friday's stream, and after reaching out to some people, I was like, whoa, like, so what do you mean? This is real, dude, what? And so I've been trying to make sense of it, so we're going to go over that today. I've got a lot to say about that. We will, of course, also shit on Supergirl a little bit because it's the laughing stock of superhero movies and maybe the nail in the coffin for the James Gunn verse. I don't know, but it's real fucking bad. Coming to digital, 30 days in theaters. Like, we're going to get into it. So there's plenty to talk about there. But there's also a lot of fun things going on. We're going to continue to stream throughout the week. We're going to drop some fun videos. This Saturday, I would like to do another members deep dive on a Marvel movie and sort of our recap as we head towards Doomsday. And this Saturday, it's going to be Avengers, man. We've done all the individual stuff, the stuff that matters, at least in the individual sense, in phase 1. And now it's time to watch Avengers 1. And I'm really excited for that because, first of all, that movie is legit, bro. I don't know the last time you watched Avengers, the first one. It's pretty fucking good, bro. And also, I think there's a lot that's sort of laid there that can be brought up again in the future. I really think there's some seeds planted, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll do that. And we're kind of rounding the bend, getting closer to both San Diego Comic-Con and Spider-Man. That's going to be a really kick-ass way to end the month off. So I expect these next couple of weeks to be pretty busy and a lot of little reports here and there. We'll have a lot of fun talking about it together on stream. And then we'll, of course, have that really big stream for San Diego Comic-Con. I'm also really looking forward to the Friday stream the week that Spider-Man comes out. So if you didn't know, a lot of people are going to see Spider-Man Wednesday night and then Thursday night previews. And then so Friday morning, we're going full spoilers on Spider-Man Brand New Day. So we'll do, and those are always really fun streams. Actually, the one after No Way Home was one of my favorite streams we did too. That was a stream that popped the fuck off. So it's cool, man. I mean, look, I've been saying it for a while that, Marvel's back, or like, oh, maybe this is the thing that turns Marvel around. And frankly, even I stopped saying that after a while because it just didn't seem like it was happening in any meaningful way. But I'm starting to really feel like Marvel could be legitimately back and in a way that will really defy the odds. Possibility of 2 big projects announced alongside the Doomsday trailer for Comic-Con. Apparently, they're going to drop the full Doomsday trailer an hour after it releases at Comic-Con with some other big surprises. So that's going to be a really fun evening, a really cool stream. And I don't know that Marvel's ever going to be exactly what it was before. And there's probably still plenty of bullcrap that'll happen over there. But again, it's like you look at what's happening to DC, you look at what happened to Star Wars, you look at how other franchises like He-Man can't even get off the ground. And I mean, look, Marvel still has the sauce in a way that not a lot of other people have, despite a lot of critics, despite kind of becoming a meme in a sense, right? Like, do people even watch Marvel movies anymore? You know what I mean? Like, et cetera, et cetera. It's still, I think, the biggest game in town. And I think also it's the IP, it's the franchise. It's like the best chance to show that you can kind of like grab back the reins of a thing after it goes out of control. and restore it to some version of its former glory. So I don't even know that it will happen for sure, but I'm hopeful. I'm excited. And I think either way, we're going to get a lot of fucking spectacle, a lot of fun Marvel shit happening. X-Men 97 again this week. It's good times, man. You know, I'm feeling good. Now, with all of that said, I do have to talk a little bit about Warhammer for a second here. Don't be weird about it. Don't be all mad. I need to vent a little about Warhammer, okay? So, I'm getting my ass kicked in 11th edition so far. Yeah. So, new edition of Warhammer came out. I've played 3 or 4 games right now, I think. 3 games, maybe? And, bro, I'm not doing great off the bat. Okay? I'll talk more about this Wednesday night on the Warhammer Wednesday stream, but I fucked up last night and played a game where I essentially had an army that had a detachment that wanted me to be on objectives, and it would have also forced my opponent to be on objectives, and I like picked the wrong disposition, so I was like playing with the wrong rules with my army, and I gotta tell you, that shit sucked ass. I was like, wow. This is a nightmare scenario. So basically, the new rules are way more confusing than I had anticipated. And because building your army is so much more important, like you used to be able to, like, in 10th edition and 9th edition, you could build a pretty standard Warhammer-esque army that had the ability to do Warhammer things, and you were going to be fine. Now, it seems as though you really need to have a specified list that knows exactly what it's doing, that has tricks to do what it wants. And, man, I've been having trouble cooking. But good news for you guys. Good news for you guys, because I know you're really concerned. I'm playing a Warhammer game tonight. I'm playing another Warhammer game tomorrow night. And Wednesday night, I will have 5 games under my belt, and I'll have new games, and I will hopefully have done much better and be able to play better, because holy shit, man. It's been rough. It's been rough. I don't know what any of that means, but I'm glad you're having fun. See, that's the attitude, Tyler, and also you want to know what it means, so I'll take the next hour to explain it, and also you want to get into Warhammer stuff, but that's a good first step. Josh, you remind me of my youth pastor. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Could go either way. Such a surprise. What's a surprise? What? Practice makes perfect. You're right. Should we play a game right now? Ibs says, I hope in Doomsday and Secret Wars we get to see Tony rip all the X-Men in half. Also, Josh, you need to chill. It's a family show here. Whoa. I thought I was chill. I thought we made great gains in the chillness around here. Holy shit. Zach says, hello, or much love, no Avengers. Here's some money for your army, brother. LOL. I gotta watch after work, but what did you think of Hot D? Well, I appreciate the 5. I didn't watch the new House of the Dragon. Last week's was pretty good, though. I finally watched last week's, and I was like, damn, that is pretty good. But no, I did not watch last night's. Was it good as well? What if the strange spell that caused the incursion to the X-Men universe, maybe Green Goblin went to the universe? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about all that shit, but it's not a bad thought. VTJ Productions, appreciate the 10, says, now that Marvel has the entire Fox catalog at their disposal, their focus needs to be on pairing correct directors. Phase 4 and 5 suffered when the projects had directors who've openly disrespected comics. Yeah, no, I think that's true. Look, man, I gotta tell you, like, it's not a popular thing to say, but Phase 4 and 5 really, I think, I think it was a harsh lesson that Kevin and some other people really needed, because, like, one of the major criticisms of Marvel up until that point, and it always kind of like works this way, was just like it's a bunch of white dudes, you know, and so it needed like diversity of director, diversity of this, diversity of that. And I think Kevin, in a sense, like absolutely understood the idea of like, you know, wanting to bring people along and share and expand, you know, diversity of ideas, diversity of people. And there's nothing like wrong with that. Like truly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Stan Lee was a big proponent of that. The problem though becomes when you hand over projects to people outside of the merit of their ability to do the job. And then when you allow, you know, whether it's identity, socioeconomic status, or whatever, something outside of the merit to determine what's best for the project itself. You know, and look, that manifested itself in several ways. I mean, I could tell you some interesting things that I heard, but maybe one of the most, like, one of the ones that's probably easiest to understand is Chloe Zhao fought with Kevin over Eternals, and she ended up winning. I don't even know exactly what the fight was about. Okay, but she ends up winning, and I'm just going to tell you straight up, that movie's better if Kevin wins that argument. From my understanding, he's just like better. He's better at understanding that. And I think he actually let a little bit too much of the reins loosen and perhaps was unwilling or felt awkward about harshly reprimanding the people that he had brought in that had like a different identity than him. And look, all that is stupid as fuck. And you can't allow that into a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? Like, that's just never going to work. And it's obviously not the same thing as saying like, oh, well, then you shouldn't bring in diverse, like, no, because I think Destin is about to drop like one of the hottest Spider-Man movie of all time. And, you know, if it was just like a white dude's club or whatever, like maybe he's excluded from that. So it's like obviously not a diametrically opposed philosophy or argument, but I do believe that there's a lot to a sort of softness, a sort of loosening of the reins due to identity that was a mistake, dude. It was a big fucking mistake. And that's not popular to say. Nobody wants to say that, but that's truly a factor. Andrew Miller says with the 10 spot, with how good X-Men 97 had been, hang on now. How will Marvel be able to live up to it when they transition into the Mutant Saga? It's raising the bar incredibly high. It's basically Disney undercutting themselves. Yeah, or paving the road, right? I mean, it kind of depends on how you look at it. I think the true test of Marvel's future is how able and willing are they to dance on the razor's edge, the bleeding edge of fan expectation and fan desire. And I think that there's two ways to look at it. Kind of the way you're presenting it is like, bro, if you make, like, it's kind of like you're saying, like, if you make X-Men 97 too lit, nobody's going to fuck with our live action John. And it's like, that's ridiculous. If anything, it's like, okay, some of the stuff that's super hot in X-Men 97, can you imagine what we could do with like $50 million for a sequence and incredible visual effects in live action? Like, what if we took that into live action? That should be the thought process. So I think it's more of a breadcrumb trail or, a path that's laid. But that's, maybe that's just my bias coming through where I'm like, dude, I hope they know that. I hope they know they got to cook to match it. You know what I mean? PQ4149 with a $20 holler says, I bought Comic-Con tickets on StubHub, and as a big white dude, I'm going to have an issue with my badge having a Chinese name. Wait, what? Reminds me of the old Seinfeld episode. What the fuck, brother? I don't understand. I must be missing something. Why does it have a Chinese name? What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something or you're missing something. But either way, appreciate it. Josh, that should be the goal. What should be the goal? Went and saw Supergirl last night, right? Oh, no, my friend. I'm not going to see Supergirl ever. But it is what it is. Blame execs for trying to cash grab and make an unreasonable amount of money. Yeah, but that's always a factor, right? I mean, isn't that always a factor? You got to know the space, man. You got to know the space, be able to navigate the space. Let's see here. Guazilla says, you pumped for the Wolverine game? I'm not a PlayStation guy, so not really, man. It looks good. I'm excited for the PlayStation fans. I think they'll have a lot of fun with it, but no, not for me. Oh, God, I'm such a pig. Excuse me. Fish-like Productions says, new stream, bro. What role will Valhalla play in Secret Wars? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on because there's something in the Secret Wars leaks that I'm kind of interested in. It could connect to Valhalla and could connect Tony Stark to Valhalla, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know, brother. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there. Appreciate the support, though. Appreciate the support. Joshua says, because there's no need for that cringe-ish. Wait, what? I know this question sounds stupid, but I'm generally wondering, where these rumors of a nude Yelena scene in Brand New Day come from, and if they're legit, because there's no need for that cringe-ish. Well, I bet there's some truth to them. Yeah, I bet there's some truth to them. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just depends on how you like it. Your mileage may vary. I'm a big fan of naked Florence Pugh. She's one of the best parts of Oppenheimer, you know? And yeah, she's a beautiful girl. Naked Tom Holland, I could, you know, not really doing much for me, but at the same time, not necessarily the biggest deal in the world. You know, again, your mileage may vary on that. Maybe you're a never nude. Maybe you hate the human form. Maybe you find all depictions of women that have anything above the ankle revealed terrible. But also, aren't we mad that the M&Ms aren't sexy anymore? So I gotta get on the same page. Somebody sent out the memo. I'm not sure what the line is. You know what I mean? So just let me know so I can be cool. Rossi says, that's the way Cool Bear sounds in real life. Oh, yeah? Again, thank you for the gift of membership. Don't change it back. This is absolutely Josh's real voice. Big ups to all the nerds. Love the show. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we talked about the Odyssey trailer. Keep that voice for the whole stream. Another 250 years of freedom. I mean, I would do for I'd do for 2 to 5 years more would be great. Honestly, let's start there, and we'll see where it goes from there. Jay Shep says, if you are willing, when talking about Secret Wars, I wrote on my Discord an idea for Secret Wars tweaking the leak that I fear is 30% true. What? I don't understand, buddy. You want me to go look at your thing on your speculation? No, I'm good, brother. Sorry. Fanastic says 2 to 3 weeks to trailer plus pew Spider-Man. Life is good. Bring back the sexy M&Ms. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I just want to know where we're at. Like, what's the company line? You know, I just want to know. Ain't I a stinker? You know what I mean? Ain't I a stinker? All right, should we just get right into it? Goddamn, I've been yapping. Should we get into it? We'll start with Supergirl. Then we'll get into the thing you must know about the leaks. Then we'll talk specifically about Thor and Cap. And then we'll talk about the Secret Wars leaks. We got a lot to do, man. We got a lot to do. Let me take a couple sips of coffee. All right, let's stretch it out. You know, you gotta stretch that out. Okay. Best part of She-Hulk was Daredevil's walk of shame. I respectfully disagree, sir. Josh, can you wear the Doom mask from the background? You mean like only the Doom mask? Why don't you file a request like that in the Senate where it belongs? Heather is under one of the masks? God, I hope not. God, I hope not. What's Joshua's deal? Is he a Mormon too? I know we got a couple Mormons in the community. Josh, you a Mormon too? You're like, nah, I don't want to see Florence sexy ass Pugh naked. It's fucking horrifying to me. I'm just wondering, you know, it's okay. No, this is a judgment-free zone. James Gunn is under another one. What does that even mean? What is happening? That's like 6 different comments that my brain has not been able to process. Am I having a seizure? Did the solar flares hit the... what's happening? What's happening right now? For a guy who hates Star Wars, you sure quoted a bunch. No, I don't. All right. Pause that groovy ass music, man. Got me feeling fresh as fuck, though. Okay. Everybody shut your mouth. So, Supergirl, the latest entry into the DCU, James Gunn's brand new take on the superhero genre in a shared universe, which is going to fix all the problems that the genre had. Ha ha ha, Kevin Feige, you fell off. And you know who's here to save the day? Spiky-ass white-haired pervert James Gunn. Wait, what's this? Oh, Supergirl is going to be on digital after a 30-day theatrical release. That doesn't seem good. Luis Fernando says Supergirl finally crossed the 100 million mark at the global box office as the DCU tragedy starring Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa grossed just 9.4 million on its second weekend overseas, a harsh 63.1% drop from opening versus Madam Web. It had a higher drop than Madam Web for a 42 international cum over 78 markets. That is the second lowest second weekend overseas for DC in 20 years. Wow. Allied to its 58.4 debut at the U.S. box office, this comic book movie with a 175 million production price. It's way higher than that, by the way. I hope you guys know it's way higher than that. It's way higher than that. Not including marketing. Yeah, not including marketing. Hits 100.4 million global cum, eyeing a 130 and 145-day global run. Guys, it got beat by Young Washington this past weekend. Which, you know, shout out to Angel Studios. Apparently, like, that's a pretty big hit for them, and people were excited about that movie. My stepdad, my Fox News stepdad watching, hit me up and was all about it, wants me to watch Young Washington. So, like, there was obviously a push for Young Washington, but, man, look at the state of the comic book movie genre. James Gunn, you came into the space, said you were going to take over. Your shit's getting beat by Angel Studios, dog. You're getting beat by... you know, I mean, straight up hardcore, you know, conservative red, white, and blue propaganda movies from a studio that I think got started by YouTubers and podcasters and stuff. I don't know the full story of that, but I'm just going to stick to that because that's kind of funny. What an embarrassing, incredible turn for the genre and for James Gunn. And then on top of that, I think the thing that makes it even worse, of course, were the reports that came out on Friday. These reports are amazing. You must have seen these guys. The reports that came out talked about two competing cuts of the movie. These came out from The Hollywood Reporter and their Heat Vision, I do believe. And essentially there were two different competing versions of the film. Gunn's, or I guess the studios, which is Gunn, and just lip sees have won by just a couple of points due to some weird system they had with the test screenings or whatever, and they end up like going with James Gunn's version. I think the reason that story picked up the way that it did is because James Gunn couldn't shut his fucking mouth about how he was going to be different. He was going to do different. Dude, there's even this tweet that people pulled up, man. I don't know if I tweeted about it or if I just shared it on Discord, but there's this tweet where somebody's asking about studio interference, the way that it happened to Zach, legitimately. And this guy literally came in and was like, well, that wouldn't happen because DC Studios is its own studio. So the only studio interference would be from us. And it's like kind of fucking poetic because it literally means like, yeah, no, you guys did interfere with Greg. But also like, I just don't buy it. I think that there were heads above him that are still doing what studios have done. So even though there's this like name of DC Studios for all intents and purposes, I think there are still a lot of voices above Gunn that are twisting things and turning things. And even if they aren't, that's actually worse. That means he's the voice. He's the one that's twisting it all, changing it all. By the way, I mean, you know, you start to kind of look at why maybe some of these other projects fell apart for Gunn. I mean, do you really think these other prestigious directors are going to take notes from James Gunn? That always seemed like a pipe dream to me, but I think especially now that he has made this stinker and literally forced Greg's vision out, that there's all this turmoil. Yeah, I mean, that's a small town. A lot of people talk. I can't imagine a lot of really creative directors or people wanting to come in under the James Gunn banner. And I also think that that's probably why Matt Reeves wisely told him to fuck off years ago, when apparently Gunn very desperately wanted Matt Reeves and Pattinson to be a part of the DCU, which, look, I think would have been a good idea. I actually understand Gunn's instinct on it. I think it's the right instinct. But now, years later, and after this total fucking collapse of a stinker, I mean, dude, this thing is legitimately probably going to be one of the biggest flops in the history of Hollywood, if not the biggest flop in the history of Hollywood. It's bombing more than the Marvels, which is crazy. The Marvels made like 230, 240 or something like this. This thing's not going to get to 100 million below that. That's insane. I think Morbius is going to do better than this fucking stinker. Holy shit. I've never, like, this is a pretty crazy rejection. Okay. And, one more thing I want to point out with regards to like the Marvels and the actual Supergirl situation. One of the things that's kind of interesting is the demos of that movie. Now, this was something that Grace Randolph brought up as a potential positive in her initial movie math the first week opening, where she said, like, look, at least the demos did get women into the theaters. Because the thing about the Marvel's demos that was really funny was it was still 60% male or 67% male or something like that. It didn't seem like a lot of female Marvel fans even went out for the Marvels. But the irony is now it's beginning to look like the point Grace was really making was women don't go see these shits, man. If there was a more male audience, this thing probably do 100 million more. Do you see? I mean, I'm even seeing videos of Brandon Davis get brought up on my timeline where he's like, yeah, I think you got to understand that the comic book movie audience is mostly male and that they will show up to the next male thing. It's like, yeah, dude, that's like what we've been fucking trying to say. That's what we've been trying to say. And a dozen, female fans or even tourists that are looking at these things for their own personal gain, they don't become the voice of an actual like beating heart fandom the way that a bunch of man children chuds and dude bros can. That's just like facts, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. The numbers are there, the data's obvious. I think Star Wars completely fucked up when they tried to acquiesce to this female fan base that is real. It's not like I'm saying these people don't exist, but the numbers at which the degree to which they exist does not justify in a 4-quadrant mass appeal IP the expenditure of resources in the way that they have done. And there's also a lesson of like getting butthurt about that. You know what I mean? Like the motherfuckers getting butthurt about it. Like, they're the ones being stupid. They're the ones, like James Gunn, like, we saw the tweets. We saw the jokes, brother, and I know you apologize and shit like that, but don't come out fucking 5 years later and be like, I'm going to write this. It's about time that a female can be, like, messy and all that stupid shit. Brother, we can see right through it. You're not that guy. You've never been that guy. This is a circle jerk. What the fuck? Like, it's just so silly. So man, I don't know. This is a pretty fucking embarrassing failure here. July 28th digital release. No wonder this guy was excited about the Netflix deal. He could have just hid behind Netflix numbers, you know what I mean? If that had really happened, but now he's got to operate in the fledgling failing theatrical system as well. What a world. So anyway, that's our check-in, check-out, check-ass, Czechoslovakia breakdown of the supers of the girl. Chat, what do you think? Like, is there anything else that needs to be said? Can Gunn bounce back? Do we want Gunn to bounce back? Do we care? What do you guys think? Trev says, will Yelena Black Widow replace Black Cat's role in the streamlined MCU? I doubt it, but it wouldn't be bad for her to have, some kind of a connection with Peter. That's kind of nice. Joshua says, Florence didn't do anything for me in Oppenheimer. I'd prefer Sydney Sweeney. I mean, I'm not going to lie, brother. If we're making it a talk show, pick your whatever, like, yeah, no, I'm probably going to lean in the direction of Miss Sweeney as well. But what's that expression? Variety is the spice of life. So, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to say. It's a family show. You know what I mean? It's a family show. Okay, the Daddy Dane show says, do you think Odyssey is cooked? No, I don't think Odyssey is cooked. I still think it's going to be a big movie. I still think it's going to be a pretty profitable movie. I would imagine it's going to do less well than people expect. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I don't know that I'm even going to see it in theaters. I'll probably wait to watch it for streaming. And I don't know. I mean, maybe if it gets like really positive reviews and people are like, no, like you got to see it, it's totally fucking legit, then maybe I would go check it out. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't really see a sign of it being cooked. I think it's just very obvious that people know what's going on with Nolan insofar as like, hey, either he wanted to do this for some internal reason or he wanted to do it because he wanted to get an Oscar and he's got to play ball, right? So he's doing some weird shit. I think a lot of people are seeing it. A lot of people are not happy with it. But I think there's a lot of people that are like, fuck it. And they're still going to see it. You know what I mean? Because as weird as it sounds, the understanding of this stuff and the sort of distaste that a lot of people have for it doesn't always actually like turn into them not spending their money on it. And in fact, I mean, you got a whole fucking group of people that are going to go see this movie specifically to shit on it, specifically to try to make money on YouTube or whatever for it. So I don't know. I mean, it's just weird times. What a weird time that we live in, you know? She can Florence my pew. Amen. Amen. First film filmed entirely in IMAX. Brother, I feel like I hear that every year. Am I crazy? Is this one of those Mandela effect things? I swear to God, I hear every single year, this is the first movie that's done entirely on IMAX. I swear to God, I hear that every year. What the hell? Like, am I insane? Don't answer that. I probably am insane. Yeah, didn't they say that on Tenet? Dude, I swear to God, they say that every fucking year. And then, like, Nolan, remember when Nolan was like, we didn't use any CGI? And it's like, oh, so you set off a fucking bomb then? Like, what the fuck? Like, nah. Is Master of the Universe worth watching on streaming? I don't know, brother. I haven't seen it. I kind of want to see it, but I want to wait now for streaming. New IMAX cameras? Is that how they keep getting away with it? They keep making cameras, and then they're like, this is the first movie ever to be shot wholly on our new IMAX cameras. That's actually a pretty good fucking gimmick. Holy shit, why didn't I think of that? This long Gandhi? What the hell does that mean? What's a long Gandhi? What the fuck? Actually, yes, that's most of it. Jeez, man, everybody's got to have a gimmick, huh? Maybe I'll get a new camera every stream, but I'll just like return it and get a new one. And then every stream I'll be like, it's the first stream shot entirely on this brand new camera. Can you believe it? Can you believe it's the first stream? Tomorrow's the first stream that we shot entirely on this new camera. Oh, you like the look. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like a little more straight on, and then Elijah told me, he's like, bro, you look so judgmental if you're straight on. So we turned it a little bit. We turned it like 3% to the side so that I'm 3% less judgmental. But to be honest with you, like, I kind of want to be judgmental. Like, I'd like to be up here on a pedestal, actually, with the white wig hair and the black robe, the mallet, all of it. Like, I think I would be a fantastic tyrant or a really good judge. King could be negotiated. Emperor's better, you know? I think you need at least 6% more. 6% more judging or less judging? Use Royce White's lighting strategy. Well, send me that, because I could barely even fucking say it, brother. You're not left-handed, are you? No, I'm not left-handed, but I mean, The left hand works, you know what I'm saying? God Emperor is what you're looking for. That's pretty decent ring, pretty decent ring. Good. Okay, good. What's wrong with being left-handed? I sent him lighting setups. Look at where that got us. I don't know if you're saying that as a good thing or a bad thing. And now I'm confused. Master of the Universe was pretty good. Had a few weaknesses, but easily better than anything Disney, Star Wars, or Goons DCU has been making. Deserved better performance than it had. I've heard that from others as well. I mean, what do you think the explanation is for it doing so poorly? You think it's just a super big lack of faith in Hollywood overall? Because I think that's part of it. Like, I legitimately do. I think people are just like, dude, the fucking movies, fucking Hollywood, tell me about a he-man. Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking right. Like, doesn't that kind of seem like the vibe or whatever? You need to fix the mini Doom. His hood is off. I kind of, sometimes he wants the hood off. You know what I mean? He's got multiple looks. Yeah, hood on, hood off. Arms crossed, arms raised. Generation hasn't had a lot of kids to take to the movie theaters. Yeah, that's fair. Actually, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, movie industry is dying off and will be extinct eventually. I think it's just going to change. It'll be like boutique. Like, I think day and date digital releases. I think, honestly, I think a lot of crazy shit's about to be released in the next 3 years just on YouTube. Like, I know people, get super butthurt about AI. Just don't, and just get over it. It's the future. And, man, I'm super excited to see what people with, some real vision, some real gusto, motherfuckers that want to, build an experience outside of any considerations of, this investor or this focus group, this, that, second, and third. Fuck all of that. I want to see some radical shit. I want to see something that has a pulse. I want to see something that fucking gets me going. And I really think that's going to happen through social media platforms or digital release platforms with visionary folks and AI. There's literally no reason that can't happen. And I know, that people are, they think that can't happen because of AI. Well, they're wrong. They're wrong. Not Josh is anti-theater and pro-AI. Oh, no, I'm not necessarily anti-theater, but theaters are antiquated. Theaters are antiquated, and to be honest with you, that industry hasn't done shit to innovate in a way to continue to provide value within this sort of new era of media. It's really their fault. They didn't do shit. It's just rent seeking. They just have the movies behind a paywall, behind a go to the movie theater wall. Don't get me going. Don't get me started, because we're having a glorious day. We're having a glorious day. We're all really excited. Don't get me going. How pumped are you for Starfighter? 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Probably won't even watch it in theaters. I personally welcome our new AI overlords. Well, you don't got to go that far, but yeah, no. OMGC with a 5-spot says, how do you think Doom will fight the Avengers? Thanos was very physical. Do you think Doom will be amplified Doctor Strange? Well, dude, thing about Doctor Doom is he's that guy. He has hands, bro. He has hands. Doctor Doom one time went into the body. He mind swapped into the body of Daredevil, and he started flipping around and kicking people's asses and whooping shit just to show that he could basically be Daredevil. You know what I mean? He's just ridiculous. So he has hands, he's got magic, he's got science, he's got tricks, he's got all sorts of stuff. So I hope all of the above. Michael says, going to be great. Wait, what? Going to be a great month. Hope everyone is healthy and well. Nerd Vengers for life. Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Looks like I missed C-Dub Super Chat. Let me see if I can find it here. C-Dub says, on a 3-hour drive back from the lake of the Ozarks with the fam. This is a great stream to pass the time. I hope you got headphones on. Sorry about all the swearing. Hey, sorry, kids. Don't be like Uncle Josh. You don't say the bad words. Uncle Josh says the bad words. You don't say the bad words. You understand? You little shits. Okay, I think we need to cook. Let's get into some shit here. Man, I got some notes. I got some things to say here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, hang on. Let me pull something up here. Should we shit on Supergirl a little more, or do you think we're done? Shall we shit on the Supergirl a little bit more? Okay, we'll move on. Okay. All right, guys, we got to talk about leaks, because there's something you need in all capitals, hopefully in the title of this. You need to know about the Doomsday and the Secret Wars leaks. And I'm actually being serious when I say that, because, you know, we're a crowd, we're a community. If you watch these videos, if you're in the streams, you know, you're probably okay with leaks. You know, you're kind of into it. You like to hear about the rumors and speculate about what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And so you've been on this journey with me for a while as we were trying to figure this out. And I've been thinking a lot over the weekend, over the last couple of days, about what should that group of folks honestly consider and know about the leaks for Doomsday and the leaks for Secret Wars, because we just had these massive leaks. Friday, we went over all of them. We went over extensive Doomsday leaks. We went over extensive Secret Wars leaks. The thing is, too, I heard after that stream that those Secret Wars leaks are pretty real. But I was so confused, because when we were going over them in the moment, I was like, this doesn't sound right. You know, this doesn't actually sound good in a lot of ways. I was like, man, I don't know about this shit, okay? And then I started to think about a couple of different things. I talked to some other folks. And so what I really want to do for you in this video specifically is to tell you what to think about, to tell you what to consider when thinking about these leaks, because you've got a lot of people saying that they're bad. You've got a lot of people saying that they're good. But ultimately, if you can understand the bias of the people that are giving you the information, if you can understand the process that has happened before when we hear about leaks and then ultimately see them in the film, you'll be just better armed with expectations and knowledge and understanding when it comes to this movie. Doomsday could be bad. Doomsday could be a mess. Doomsday could be sloppy, break glass in case of emergency, bring Downey back, you know, all of that sort of stuff, right? Doomsday could have a ton of great ideas and just be poorly executed, or maybe they just couldn't figure it out. Doomsday could have some serious problems as far as what it's trying to focus on, what it's trying to accomplish. Maybe it's trying to accomplish a little bit too much. Maybe it's not trying to be as expansive as it could be. There's all sorts of ways this could go. I'm obviously biased to think that the movie's going to be good. But I would also argue that I'm a person that's been pretty accurate about what movies are going to be good and what movies are not going to be good when it comes to Marvel. Pretty fucking accurate, actually. And as we've gone over the past couple of years, it doesn't always mean they're going to be successful, right? You look at last year, Thunderbolts, not incredibly successful. You could argue it was a failure. Fantastic Four, probably like good enough, but not what they wanted, right? But those are good movies, and especially for the fans of Marvel movies, those are good movies, and most of us really enjoyed them. And I think it was accurate to say, as they were being built and created and tested, that it looked like they were going to be good. I thought they were going to be good, and they were pretty good, okay? Now, I gotta tell you here that some of what we're about to talk about with regards to the leaks has to do with My Time to Shine Hello, but it specifically has to do with the fact that My Time to Shine Hello is a total fuckface. And what I mean by that is, like, I've actually talked to Shine a lot. I blocked her like last year. I haven't really talked to her since, or him since, or whoever, or whatever it is. But I've talked to Shine a lot, okay? I've also seen a lot of how Shine acts on social media, and also can we get some toes before that account got nuked, the Daniel RPK account, and others. And the reality is those leaks that we went over on Friday for Secret Wars specifically, this like new account that like Geeky was talking about that's gotten stuff, right? I talked to some other folks about this. We're all pretty sure that's Shine. Okay. And the thing about Shine that I can just say completely 100% honestly, because I've literally talked to her about this, she hates Kevin Feige, literally wants to hurt Marvel Studios. She's told me that before. And not only has she told me that before, she's actually tried to get me to talk negatively about certain things that I'm hearing with regards to Marvel. So I just want to be crystal clear with you. You have to understand that this person is trying to set Marvel up for failure and is literally trying to explain these Secret Wars leaks in the most uncharitable, horrible way possible. Okay? And I know that for a fact, but I also think that we can look at some things that have recently come out from both of these different accounts, and we can actually see a pretty clear difference in how certain folks are talking about things and how certain other folks are talking about things. So what comes to mind for me, most specifically, is this whole Reed Richards Doctor Doom relationship. Okay? And, we heard from people like Cryptic HD and from people like Alex Perez that there's a history between Doom and Reed. And in fact, Alex is kind of implied, he didn't say this directly, but Alex has kind of implied that Marvel changed the backstory for Doom so that he did originally come from 828, and they did this because they were witnessing fan reaction to the other leaks, and they thought that they needed Doom to be a little bit more traditional. They needed Doom to actually have that relationship with Reed, which, dude, I gotta tell you, it's pretty crazy, but Rob and I had a big conversation about that. That clip did like 100K plus views that we just talked about it. And I remember feeling bad about it because we were really negative on those initial leaks about how it's all about Steve Rogers and it wasn't really about Reed and all these things. Rob specifically, very butthurt about it. I was really butthurt. And I just remember like actually feeling bad about it because I was like, that clip did really well. And we're shitting on this thing the whole time. Come to find out a couple of weeks later, or maybe a couple of months later, Rob starts talking about how he heard that they changed it, that they're changing the Doctor Doom origin in Doomsday because of fan reaction. And at the time, I couldn't believe that. I was like, nah, there's no way. Like, they're not going to do it. Guys, I'm starting to think that shit was real. I'm starting to think Rob knew something. He heard something. And I think it was real. But what does that mean? And what am I really driving at here with regards to the change and the difference between people like My Time to Shine Hello or Daniel RPK or even Gary from Nerd Erotic, who is very negative about Marvel and is going to frame the leaks in a similarly negative way, right? I mean, that is what Gary's doing as well, which is kind of interesting, right? Well, the reason I'm driving at this is because it's super clear that Cryptic has come out and said in different various scoops that Doom is traditional, that people are going to be excited about how much he's like comic book Doctor Doom. And Cryptic has come forward to talk a lot about how there's a relationship in history between Reed Richards and Doctor Doom. And literally the very next day, Shine is yapping about how Doom is obsessed with Steve Rogers and cares very little for Reed Richards in the movie. Now, just think about that. Think about that. What that means is that there's a camp of insiders that's, maybe they have their own biases, but they're trying to report it in a sense of like, hey, here's what Marvel's doing with Doctor Doom, and I think people are really going to like it. It's actually really positive because it enforces the relationship between Reed and Doom. And then Shine is literally trying to undercut that exact message with her scoops the following day. So you can just obviously see how there are people that have inside information, and maybe it's just their own personal bias that they're viewing all this stuff as really poor, or maybe they're a hater, and so they're viewing it all as shit, or they just don't like Kevin Feige and Marvel, and they want to try to do damage to them. So I'm like very fucking certain that this is happening, okay? And all that really means is that you have to take into consideration that is happening, and you have to understand that there are groups of people that are going to try to report this in the most uncharitable, negative way that is possible, and that might not be the full story. That like might not actually be like how this is going. Now, with regards to the leaks for Doomsday and Secret Wars, some of it doesn't sound incredible. Some of it actually sounds a little whack, which we'll get into more today. I actually want to spend a lot of time, way too much time, in fact, going over every little thing that bothers me and how it could work out in a better way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there are a couple of things you got to remember. I unfortunately have to give some props to the Superman movie, to James Gunn's Superman movie, because that movie was an important lesson in knowing things through the lens of a leak and then seeing it in the context of the film and it not being as bad. I'm speaking mostly of the super shit rumor. Man, that super shit rumor and the army of monkeys that are hater bots on the internet. When I first heard about that, I was like, this is crazy. I can't fucking believe this in this movie. And I thought it was going to destroy the film. I remember even in my trip in New York, and one of the big things I said to all the Facebook people and all the people when we were there, I was like, oh, hey, just so you know, this is going to be in the movie. Hopefully it's going to be cut, but it's terrible. You should have seen their faces. Everybody in that room was like, that sounds ass. As it turns out, it's like a fleeting, passing moment in the movie, a little bit of a joke. Is it self-indulgent and stupid? Of course it is, because it's James Gunn, but it's not that fucking bad. It didn't actually like hurt the film for me in the way that I anticipated it would. Another great example to look back at is actually the Infinity War and Endgame leaks, specifically the Endgame ones. 2 weeks before Endgame came out, we had full leaks that ended up being 100% accurate. And a lot of people looked at those leaks and they were like, I can't believe this. A Fat Thor, a Professor Hulk, a time heist where they go back to the movies. This sounds shit. You know what I mean? But the reality was that back then, even back then, those leaks were presented in a super uncharitable way. They sounded kind of whack. And then the way they're executed in the movie is actually pretty good. Like I like Endgame, despite not liking Smart Hulk, despite not liking Fat Thor, and despite not liking certain other things that they did in the movie overall is pretty fucking good. So as we are entering this stage where we're finding out more and more and more about these movies, it's just important to consider that, number one, you've got some people framing things in a very negative way that actually do want to hurt Kevin Feige for whatever reason. Just imagine, like, who would want to do that, right? Who would want to hurt Kevin Feige? Just imagine, right? The other thing that's important to consider is that the leaks do not actually mean that the movie itself is going to be bad. And then the last thing that I want to bring up here in this video, in this clip while we talk about this, is the Jean Grey thing. Okay? Because again, remember, the Secret Wars leaks, which we went over on Friday, which we're going to go back over today, are my time to shine. I'm very confident that it's shine. Okay? And also, they are very early leaks that are told in the most uncharitable way possible. And I can just tell you that based on the way she first reported the Doomsday leaks to me and the way they actually turned out, there's a huge gap between the way she's saying it and the way it'll be. But also, she was wrong about Jean Grey. And the reason that I have to bring up that she was wrong about Jean Grey is because I'm hopeful that some of the stuff that is believed even today about these leaks is not the full story. And just like the Jean Grey thing was like kept under wraps to a crazy degree, and maybe if I hadn't cracked it, it would have never come out the way that it did. I'm not really sure. But that was something that was kept away from Shine and kept away from a lot of people in that space for a long time. And so part of like what she's reporting for these movies is hopefully like missing huge important things. And maybe not. You know what I mean? Maybe this is what it is, and it's just like a little bit better than she's saying it. But also, it is very possible because the Russos have figured out new ways to hide leaks. And they're really trying. And as I said before, I've been saying this in videos for weeks and weeks at this point. I think Secret Wars will be even more secret. Because I think a lot of the stuff they did in Doomsday, some of it worked for a little bit, some of it didn't work at all. And I think they figured out where those leaks were coming from. I think they clogged up some of those holes. That's why I think there's still secrets remaining for Doomsday, because it was done via the guise of the reshoots and Skeleton Crews and, you know, all that. And I'm very hopeful that there's going to be even more surprises in Secret Wars. So hopefully the Scoopers know as little as possible. They know the fewest amount of beats. They have the least accurate version of a Marvel movie that they have ever had. with regards to Secret Wars. So that is the first topic that I wanted to talk about today, because I do think it's actually really important to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean Doomsday is going to be good. It doesn't mean that there's not evidence that Doomsday could be bad. But just like be for serious, be honest. And if you're actually trying to get a sense of what's going on in this movie, understand that people like Shine and some of these insiders, they literally hate Kevin for whatever reason, and they just want to hurt him. It's crazy, but I know that for a fact. I've talked to her, him, her, him, whatever it is. Okay, chat, what do you think? Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? What do you think? And does that shape or reshape how you think about the leaks? What do you think? Fat Tony says, yo, Josh, did you ever see Captain Hydra Lego leak for Doomsday? I did not. Where's that at? Where's that at? That's got me feeling good, man. That's got me feeling good. Yeah, what do you guys think? That's some biting the hand that feeds you stuff. Oh, I wish that My Time to Shine or whoever was actually running that account would be isolated in Antarctica and never type a single thing on the internet ever again. And I would be fucking fine, brother. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be fine. Nice Berg says, Endgame in hindsight is at best an 8 out of 10. I mean, 8 out of 10 is pretty good. I can absolutely see Doomsday and Secret Wars being underwhelming, not being 10s like they are portrayed as. Yeah, and you know what? Like, look, to be fair to the homie, I think in some ways that's actually a best case scenario. Like, Endgame hype, Endgame money, and then also the Endgame like retroactive history where we're like, man, it wasn't actually that good. I think Marvel would take it, brother. You know what I mean? Like, real talk. Like, to me, it's more important that it blows our hair back. You know, it's more important that like it gets the nerdy juices going and gets us really, really excited. And also like sets like a new direction or whatever. But underwhelming, I guess, is just kind of dependent upon your metric for whelm. You know, like how easily whelmed are you? Thought you and Shine were friends? Oh, no. I hate that bitch. I'm just a friendly guy, so I'm friendly to most people. You know what I mean? I'm so friendly. Show me this leak right now. Hydra Captain America? Dude, get the fuck out of here. All right, now we got to do a whole new thing. Somebody verify this. Somebody verify this. And by the way, if this is real, it also shows you another poopy doopy thing that My Time to Poop on the Floor, bitch face, whack ass motherfucker, leave us all alone forever. Hello. She was wrong about this too. She was wrong about and she lied to me about it. And she fucking lied to me about it. Just like she lied to me about the Jean Grey thing. Fuck this bitch. All right, we're going to end that segment. We got to get right into this leak about the Captain America thing. All right, everybody, listen up. Big freaking news, big freaking deal. I found this on my own. Chat was slacking, but don't worry, because Papa Josh always has his finger on the pulse. Always be feeling that pulsation with my finger. Listen, Linda, this appears to be a leak. A leak that is for Avengers Doomsday. And it's made me erect, metaphorically speaking. 76 million pieces. The Dark Avengers Quinjet. What? Don't play the unbricks. Somebody double triple check this account right now, because I swear to God, if this shit is not true, if this is some kind of fake game bullshit thing, then we're finding the unbricks. We're gonna find you. Somebody double check it, because I just went from 6 to midnight. A Dark Avengers Quinjet? Fuck out of here. It includes Hydra, Captain America. Shh. 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 You sit there. You sit there and listen. When Robert Downey Jr. was first announced as Doctors of the Dooms, there were some weird rumors that popped out right away as it was announced. One of the things that people like Alex Perez and Jeff Snyder were saying at the time was that they expected the other Avengers to return to the roles and also be villainous. Jeff said this in several different Hot Mic podcast episodes. All of a sudden, everybody dropped it, stopped talking about it, okay? I reached out to people like My Time to Shine Hello and said, yo, what's the deal with the Dark Avengers? What's the deal with Hydra Cap? And she was like, nope, not in there, not in the movie. Around the same time, she told me Sadie Sink wasn't Jean Grey, that lying hooker. So a lot of people were like, okay, maybe that's not true. But there's just evidence I can't let go of. I mean, for one thing, Paul from Heavy Spoilers, one of the very first things he leaked out about Secret Wars at the time, when Kang Dynasty was still Kang Dynasty, was that Scarlett Johansson would return, but she was going to be evil. Now, I think that got grabbed up from Secret Wars. That's going to be in Doomsday, I think. Another thing that was interesting was Anthony Mackie talking about Doom's Illuminati. Like, he said this. He said something weird, like he was asked about, like, fighting Dr. Doom. He's like, maybe if I go up against Doom or, like, Doom's Illuminati or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, Doom's Illuminati, what the fuck? But that could have been the fact that he and people like Tom Holland actually knew what was going on back then and was trying to keep it chill. There was some other things, like some subtle hints and teases here and there by Jeremy Renner and some of the commentary that other folks had said around that time. Man, I think this shit could be real. Alex Perez talked about multiple roles, dual roles, and one would be on Team Doom. Chris Claremont talked about it. I believe Chris Claremont said Hydra Cap as well. Let's double check that. Because I could be putting words into Chris Claremont's mouth. But Chris, a lot of the shit he said ended up being true. The Toby stuff. Let's see here. Claremont, you're in trouble now. Maybe he didn't say it. Oh, man. Chat. Did anybody double check this? Man, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad if this is some fake bullshit, man. And I got to tell you, man, if this ends up being real, I was right about this shit then too. Dude, I swear to God, guys, Shine was lying to my face and just something that I knew. I was like, no, she's just wrong about this. And if I'm right, then this is another thing that they kept real hush-hush, brother. They kept this real hush-hush, man. And also, this isn't in that leak either. This is not in that leak that Campia talked about. This isn't in any leak that anybody's saying, dude. It might be real Legos. It doesn't mean it's in the film. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Wow, that's kind of interesting. All right, let's see here. Oh, shit. He did make the thing? He did say it was Hydra Cap? Playing an evil person. Two other roles. Chris Evans is playing Captain America, young Captain America, evil Captain America, and Captain Hydra or something like that. His fucking words, bro. His words. Dude, Claremont let it slip. Oh, shit. Claremont let it slip. Dude. So, I mean, you know, this is where I just turn into like a puddle of fanboy dreams. Like, I'm literally melting because this shit is so cool and it implies some really cool and interesting things about the movie. It would also imply that there's multiples potentially of him in Secret Wars. Holy shit. Like, this really does change things, man. And this is like, it's actually wild that this happened because I was literally just saying that in the last segment when I was explaining about the leaks and the context you need to understand with the leaks, you need to understand that Sadie Sink thing that I found out actually does change things. Like, legit. It changes things. It means that there's a whole bunch of information that's coming through normal channels that Marvel designed to be different than what's true. Dude, it's all coming up Millhouse. This is fucking crazy. Hydra Captain America, bro? Are you kidding me? I need it. I need the hot toy. I need the Marvel Legend. Dude. Oh, man. Oh, man. And then the potential that this opens up for Secret Wars is crazy as well. Because, like, one of the things, I guess to just skip ahead to one thing, and then I'll see what the chat is saying. But we had this issue with, like, Captain America being kept alive, okay? And apparently, like, Cap was going to be kept on Battleworld as this prisoner. And Doom was so mad at him that he just wanted him to see forever that the world was now better for Doom and Cap's life sucked or whatever, right? But I couldn't stop thinking about Hydra Captain America and how just like Doom would become evil to get his kid back on Battleworld, that there could be a Steve that also made the same choice that was like, yeah, no, sacrifice the kid, or, it's fine that everything dies because I'll have what I want in the next universe. Like this idea of offering to the different Avengers, hey, you can have your kids on Battleworld if you just be evil as fuck with me. That's like a really interesting way to challenge the characters and challenge the audience and create a scenario where, it's they're fighting against their dark versions on Secret Wars. Like, dude, that to me, this opens up a whole realm of possibilities that could make this shit really, really dope. And, again, not to belabor the point, but like way more dope than a lot of these insiders are trying to get us to think they are, right? Wow, what a world. Chat, what do you think? You think it's real? You think we got the Dark Avengers? You think we got the Dark Avengers? You think, dude, oh, it would be so cool, man. Oh, it would be so cool. Then you could have like your Dark Avengers hot toys and then your Avengers hot toys, them like fighting against each other and stuff. By the way, that could explain the Hulk that we see in the concept art on Battleworld and also Maestro Hulk. Why? Because there's two banners. There's Maestro, evil Dark Avenger, Maestro Hulk. Brother, if I see the fucking Dark Avengers roll up in a Dark Avengers Quinjet and start whooping ass on like the X-Men or some of these other motherfuckers, oh my God! Good gravy, Marie! Sweet Christmas! Oh man, that's got me excited. Dude, apparently this shit is real. This shit is real. Oh, Lego, I love you. Oh, Lego, you silly dumb bitches. Oh, man, Chris Claremont, keep on yapping. Keep on yapping. Oh, my God, it's confirmed from multiple different sources. This shit is real. The Lego League is real. Oh. It just got debunked? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. This whole clip and this whole stream's about to take a tragic turn. Don't you do this to me. Don't you do this to me. Don't play. Wow. Wow. Man. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's crazy that I knew, despite them lying to my face. It's crazy because like they hadn't lied to me about a lot of shit, and then all of a sudden they started lying to me. It was like a big psyop or like a limited hangout fucking operation or something. And I literally deadass was just like, no, I don't believe you. Like about the Gene thing, about this Dark Avengers thing, like, bruh. This is crazy. John Bow, welcome back to the Nerd Avengers. Too convoluted for the plot. That'd make more sense in Secret Wars, but, well, we don't know. It could literally be just the very end of the movie. It could just be at the very end of the movie. This also could explain that Peggy Carter and how the person said he was deceived into thinking it was his Peggy. It's Peggy from the universe where Hydra Cap is, probably. Bro. Wait, what? Mike Zero first broke the Lego Avenger story? Well, good for him, man. Always been a big fan of Mike, Definitely never made fun of his neurodivergence, his stupid-ass dartboard, whack-ass hat, and all the bullshit he spews endlessly. I've always been a huge fan of Zero. You know this, Mandalore. You and I have been through a lot, as has Mike Zero. Give him Hydra Peggy. F Captain Carter. That's what I'm saying, dude. Captain Carter sucks. Captain Hydra Carter? That's hot. Have them all come back as baddies softens the blow of RDJ returning as the villain and makes it feel more intentional and not a gimmick. It's okay. Look, you're wrong, but it's okay, Lawson. Horner. Let me explain to you why it's not whatever stupid shit you just said. Appreciate you, though, bud. Let me explain. I think Victor's going to go back to the sacred timeline and literally create parallel versions of it where the Avengers are evil. So it's like he's going to do his own version of He Who Remains, but specifically because it's fun to do bad things. And he wants to shat upon the thing that, He Who Remains was trying to do and to force him into being a hero. Now he's like butthurt and petty. And so he's going to turn all the heroes into villains. Yeah. You understand perfectly what I said, and I'm sorry that I brought it up in a stupid way. It's okay, Lawson. Oh, wait. No, they can see that you didn't actually say that on the screen. Hang on, let me pull this away so I can control the narrative. It's okay, Lawson. And I appreciate you owning your own stupidity. Appreciate you, bud. Story confirmed by Heather. Okay, great. It's not Hydra Cap. It was U.S. Agent. And the retailer who sent the info to Unbricks is not a huge Marvel fan. It can't tell the difference. No, it's not. Shut your mouth when you're talking at me. They could just be doing Dark Avengers because Dark Falcon and God Vader did so well. What the hell's happening here, guys? What the hell's happening? Why can't you just give me this one, okay? I was right about this shit again. It's fanboy hype city. Fan dreams are coming on. I have a private phone line to Kevin Feige where I tell him all of my demands, and now it's all coming to pass. I only care if my own personal sensibilities and expectations are met with this movie. I don't care if every single other person on the fucking planet doesn't like it and hates it. It's being completely catered to me. Any questions? Any other questions? Before we move on to the other scheduled shit that I got to say. I was praising the idea. Don't be a jerk. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm such a jerk. Thank you for praising the idea, as you should. Josh started talking about Dark Avengers and the Marvel Spies started typing in chat. I know, right? Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, he's 100% accurate, just like Red Moon. I don't know what Red Moon is, but I swear to God, if you type Rebel in front of the word Moon, you better second guess that shit. We need the movie to be good so Josh can become sane again. Brother, that ain't going to happen. It's too late for me, son. Okay? You know what the problem with most insane people is? They're clinging to the idea of sanity. Just let it go. You'll have so much more fun. Is this multiversal Masters of Evil with the evil Avengers? It's something like that, I think, yes. Something like that, yeah. Dark Avengers Disney Plus limited series. I mean, that sounds lit except for the Disney Plus part. We know you're Shine. I mean, I am kind of shiny. Sometimes. Have we shit on Supergirl yet? Yes, we have shut upon Supergirl. I think in an appropriate amount, but I did have a lot of corn on the cob over the weekend, you know what I mean? So maybe there's more in there. Do you think that there is a Dark Falcon? What? A Dark Falcon? No. Okay, let's move on from this one. Let's move on from this one. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything's awesome. Hell yeah. Give me Dark Avengers. I want to see him be mean. I want to see him shit on Supergirl. Give me Dark Avengers. I want them all to smoke and drink and fuck. Give me Dark Avengers. We need some kind of like song, you know. I want them to be like really dark, you know. I want them to have problematic opinions and, you know, be in group chats they probably wouldn't want people to know about. You know what I mean? Like, we need the total chut it out, absolutely based, evil as fuck, but are they right about a few things? That's the vibe for the Dark Avengers, baby. Gimme Dark Avengers. Yeah, don't worry. It's going to be okay. Do you think there's a Dark Heather? No, Rossi, I don't. Thank you for your super chat, your support, and your contribution to the conversation. All right, let's talk about Thor and Captain America. Can we do that? Thor, Captain America. Whoa, there's Captain America's massive dong. Sorry. Wow, it's just everywhere. How much? Damn, this dong is just. You know, we might have made a mistake here. Is this relevant to your search? Yes. Okay, give me a second here. Let me get the massive Captain America dong out of your faces. Apologies. I'm sure Joshua Campbell Bluegrass is losing his mind over there. Oh, Satan has put Captain America's dong on my screen. I accept no naked flowers, pew pew, or Captain America dong! I mean, it is canonical that he's got a fucking hammer down there for sure. Because we know this because in the comics, at one point, Red Skull gets a cloned body of Steve Rogers and occupies the cloned body of Steve Rogers. And he was a big rig hauler there as well. It's the super soldier serum gave him a super big penis. Just is what it is. We don't have to be weird about it. You know, you don't gotta chuckle about it. And as I continue to scroll, I'm just like, Jesus, am I ever gonna get past this dong? Okay, maybe we just look for Thor. All right, we'll just do this. It's a nice little thing to do. All right, lads and lasses, let's talk specifically now about a certain leak for Avengers Doomsday. So we recently went over a bunch of leaks for Avengers Doomsday, and it's real, and there are definitely new things to go over within the leak. And I've been thinking a little bit about them, and one specifically that I wanted to talk about was Steve Rogers and Thor being the ones to discover everybody dead in the TVA, Loki dead, heart ripped out, and they discover that Doctor Doom is the one responsible, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys, but like when I first heard that, I was like, wait, what? That's weird. That's not what we heard. And remember, too, that there were a bunch of fake leaks that came out from James Mack, Majestic, and whatever the other fake ass accounts were, you really got to remember that those accounts started putting out all these fake leaks. And in the fake leaks that they had, it was Reed Richards and Charles Xavier that figured out that Doom was behind everything. And that appears not to be the case. It appears to be that it will be Steve Rogers and that it will be Thor Odinson that actually figure out what's going on there. But to be honest with you, I still have a lot of questions about this scene. And so I wanted to kind of just talk about it because I think it'll serve to show you that even though we have these leaks out there, there's a lot we still don't understand. There's a lot that's being left out, and hopefully it'll make a lot more sense when we actually like see the movie. And it's also just kind of fun to think about what are the possible answers and explanations for this whole thing. So I guess specifically just to sort of explain that Cap and Thor are obviously big, important parts of the Doomsday plot. This is first revealed in the very first 4 trailers. Remember, there's a Steve one, there's a Thor one, there's one for the X-Men, and then there's one for the New Avengers. And so it was always obvious that those 2 characters were going to play a big, big role here. Steve specifically is really important as he is the catalyst to the 616 Avengers trusting and working with Victor Von Doom. He was also put on the universe where Reed and Doom are from by Loki. Okay. And I think between the Loki scene that where he moves Steve and the scene where they then go to the TVA, I think there's just so many questions still about that. But I guess we could just start with the broad understanding that Thor and Steve are both really, really important to this. I wonder how much Doom will be vocalizing the importance of these 2 characters and maybe even suggesting that they need them and that they need Steve Rogers. And, as Shine has said, he's kind of obsessed with Steve, and there's going to be some dark stuff that's revealed later on. But Steve, very important to the overall plot. And I can't help but think that his being woven into the plot by Loki is deeper than some people are thinking about, and there's more to it. Okay, so in the newest leak, it says that at some point, probably towards the end of the movie or towards the end of the second act, Cap will confront Thor and say, hey man, there's a variant of your brother from our universe that's alive. And I met him. And in fact, he gave me this card. And then it seems like from there, they're going to then go to the TVA using the card. But when they get there, they discover everybody's dead, including Loki. Now, my main question about this scene is why would they wait that long? Is Thor not present in the battle for the X-Men? Does Thor come into the movie later? Because that is not what Alex Perez said. Alex Perez said he comes into the picture even earlier than he does in Infinity War. And so I think that Thor has a lot to do in this movie. I guess one possible explanation, though, is that whatever he's doing is not directly tied to what's going on with Doom. It's not directly tied to what's going on with Steve. However, we did hear from the first leaked trailer that Thor is in the room when Reed and Doom are explaining the plan. And I think that makes perfect sense, right? Like, I think that makes perfect sense. So again, why wouldn't Steve bring this Loki thing up to either Victor or to Thor immediately? Does anybody have an explanation for that? Like, you know what I mean? Does anybody have an explanation for that? The only thing that I can think of is that Loki gave him specific instructions, or there was something that Steve was waiting for, right? Because otherwise, like, here's what I don't understand, okay? Let's say the rumors are true. They move Steve to the 828 universe. He's been living there for 10 years. Okay? But he was moved there by Loki, and Loki gave him a card. So one of my main questions is then, okay, so the very moment that Reed Richards and Doctor Doom show up, why doesn't Steve immediately tell them about Loki? Why don't they immediately go find Loki? Because if what Loki said to Steve was, hey man, if you ever need to get in touch with me, here's this thing, here's my card. And then Steve's like, wow, I could have caused an incursion. There's massive consequences for time travel stuff. This Loki just popped out of nowhere and put me over here in this world. I don't know. The moment that Doom and Reed Richards show up to my door and they're like, hey, you're not from this universe, I'm going to start talking about why I'm here. I'm going to start talking about who put me there. I'm going to start talking about the card I was given, right? So we have to make sense of this. And look, I'm not saying that it's okay, so there's a bad way this could go and a good way this could go, right? The bad writing version of this is they just bring it up later on in the movie, and Steve just didn't think to bring it up until then. And that would be so weak, right? Like, that would be weak sauce. And honestly, if that's what they do, I think we have every right to criticize Marvel and the Russos and McFeely and just be like, that's terrible fucking writing, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's terrible writing if he just didn't think to bring it up until later on. And I gotta assume that even though Doomsday could potentially still be bad and it could still be a mess, I gotta assume they're not like writing it at that bad of a level. Like, if little old Josh can walk through those steps and come to the conclusion that there needs to be a reason, then the billion-dollar corporation, all the people cooking for this big, important movie that's the most important movie they've ever made, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and think that they've already thought about this, right? They've considered it. So, to me, almost one of the only ways that this could make sense is that Loki knows somewhat what is going to happen. And he gave Steve more than just a new lease on life and a fancy card. I think he gave him instructions. I think he told him he moved him for a purpose. I think Steve is ready for a coming fight. That's what I think. And if that's true, you have to understand that then the subtext of that scene explains it in a way that is so much more charitable and better than all of these pooper scoopers and anti-Marvel people are explaining it. And I'm sorry I keep saying that over and over again, but you have to understand that's actually happening. Do you understand the logic of what I'm saying? I know the puppies they're in their kennels out there and they're being little buttholes. Maybe we should let them out. But are you guys following me? Are you following what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm setting down? So, further questions then. When they go to the TVA, assuming it's because something happened that Loki said they were going to happen, and now Steve feels like it's the time to bring it up. Then when they arrive and everybody's dead, it's possible Loki knew that was going to be the case as well. So in the leaks, it says everybody's dead, and then they realize, including Loki, who had his heart ripped out, and they realize Doom is behind it. But again, that's like this super truncated, no subtext version of that. So number one, what do you mean everybody's dead? So they come in and billions of people are dead? Because it was billions of people in the TVA. Is the whole place wrecked? Are there bodies everywhere? Everybody's dead? Are they on the void now dead? Or are they dead? Did they get pruned? Are they dead? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's like questions of that. When they first roll up, what is that destruction going to look like? Okay. Then there's a question of finding Loki dead. Well, Loki wasn't technically in the TVA. He was in the Citadel at the end of time, which was protected past the void, past the enchantment, past Alioth, and it's beyond time. So do they just go to the TVA? Do they go to the TVA, go to where the loom is, and see that Doom has done something to get past everything and to go to the Citadel or wherever Loki ends up, right? Yeah, is Miss Minutes dead as well? Like, there's a lot of questions about, like, what all that entails. Also, Loki has his heart ripped out and he's dead. Is there any kind of message? Is there any kind of communication? Is there anything that was told by him? Does Steve have a memory back to the first conversation and find something out? There's all kinds of things that could happen. I highly doubt they show up and in a single room, everybody's dead and Loki's just lying on the floor. And then they go over to Loki and they're like, oh my God, Loki, you died off screen. That's so bad and probably not going to satisfy the audiences. And then they all look at the camera and start winking. Like, it's not some Monty Python bullshit. There's probably a well thought out reason. The reveal itself is probably heartbreaking. Loki, or rather Thor, will probably be pretty fucked up about it. But it's also possible that something else is going on. There's some other messaging. There's some other thing. Here's another question. How do they know Doom did it? How do they know Doom did it? Well, if they go into the security footage like Obi-Wan, then we will actually see Dr. Doom slaughtering all these people in the TVA. And that could be really fucking cool. We could also potentially see him killing Loki. So maybe it's not technically off screen. Maybe they can confirm it somehow. I'm not really sure. But there's just like a lot of different questions and ways and scenarios that this could go out or go. And I just can't stop thinking about it because the way it's presented in the current leaks. Oh my God, my dog, bro. My dog's killing me. The way it's presented in the current leaks, there's just a lot of gaps. There's a lot of shit that is different. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting is you think about the very end of the movie. In the Doomsday Luke, it sort of briefly says it's revealed that Doom has the power of Loki. So that's weird. Why is he not acting like he has the power until the very end? I'm not really sure. So all of a sudden, he's just going to reveal that he has the power after everybody's dead, and he resurrects everybody. Well, does that include, like, Dark Avengers? And do we have a scenario towards the end of the movie where all of the people that worked with Doom are seen as members of the court or, you know, members of favor in Doom's new empire, and the end of the movie, like, just straight up sets up Battleworld? Like, that's kind of fucking crazy. And I think if you just look at the way it's said in those leaks, it's just, like, super uncharitable. They just, like, gloss over that and try to make it sound like shitty and bad. And we'll go over the Secret Wars stuff, too, because it's a similar story, man. There's so much that's missing from them. And if the new leaks about the Dark Avengers are real, that's not in any of the leaks. So that's going to be something that happens at the end that's probably going to add another layer of emphasis, another layer of darkness, something really crazy to what we think are currently going on in the leaks right now. So that's what I wanted to say about that specific thing with Thor and with Steve, because when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, this sounds kind of whack. But then you think about it and you're like, it's all the stuff they're not saying in the leaks, and it's all the questions that you would naturally have as a writer, and all the subtext that would come along to answer all those questions. That's where the juice of the scene is. So I just want to bring that up to you. I got to go let my dog in real quick, and then I want to see, or let my dog out of the kennel. I want to see what you guys have to say about that. So give me just a second. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. I can't believe we're getting the Dark Avengers and Hydra Captain America. Oh my god! All right. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think, chat? What do you think about this shit? What do you think about this shit? Josh, the leaked plots are super uncharitable. Russo's Marvel movies, the most thought-provoking. Why would that change now when it matters most? Yeah, no, I mean, again, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the people that are optimistic are right as well. But it's just like I just want to be honest about this shit, man. She's a shyster, dude. She's a slime ball. And, I think there's a lot of others in the space that are slimy as well. And they really are just saying it in the least charitable way possible. They're trying to get out ahead of it way early to try to plant inside people's brains, this shit is whack, like from a very, very early position. And they're free to do that, and you're free to believe it if you want. But Josh is free to speak the truth. And that's all I want to do is just speak the truth about it. So. The Daddy Dane Show says, contributing to the right versus left-handed conversation earlier, I told my wife that I'm ambidextrous. Told me, no, I'm not. Any advice? Well, I would tell her that you're a big fan of equal rights for women and equal lefts, and then give her a 1-2 just to show her you got it in both hands. You know what I mean? Not financial advice, but that's what I would do. You know what I mean? All right, any other questions here? What do you guys think about these leaks? What do you think about these leaks? Kalisto says, I looked it up, and Hydra Cap was indoctrinated from childhood in an alternate reality. Is that how they're going to do it in the film? That's a great question. So I assume, here's the way that I would do it, okay? And this is why, by the way, I always thought they were going to do this. Steve Rogers is so important. He's so heroic. He'll never give up. If you want to create a truly dark universe with dark Avengers, you have to change him. If you don't change him, you can't change any of them. So essentially what Doom needs to do is get Steve to forsake being Steve, and then he can create an entirely dark universe. You got to understand how dark that would be. So just imagine 616. Even though 616 is fake, right, and that's probably a Doomstar variant thing, just imagine it exactly the way that it happened, but just remove Steve from it. We know it goes dark because in 828 or in 838, it's Captain Carter, so we can assume they never find Steve. She takes the serum, and, you know, surprise, surprise, that bitch goes dark side. You know what I mean? Like, she's evil because she doesn't have Steve, and maybe she allows the wounds of, you know, loss of Steve to manifest in a really, really dark way. Literally, without Steve, Black Widow is evil. Without Steve, Clint is evil. Without Steve, like, dude, without Steve, the Avengers are the Dark Avengers, in my opinion. So I think that's the whole idea. You talk about an obsession with the character. Why is Doom so obsessed with Steve Rogers? Why does he hate him so much? Because he realizes that the experiment that He Who Remains did that turned his variant into a hero, the reason it worked was because of Steve Rogers. That's why he hates him. That's just my theory, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to believe it, but that is always those are the thoughts that I always had about this. What the fuck, Martian Maiden? What the hell? Yeah, any other thoughts, any other questions, comments about this exact thing? Oh man, I knew we were gonna have a good-ass Monday stream. I didn't realize how good it was gonna be. Woo! Holy banana nut muffin on a Sunday morning. Butter me up. Hydra pulls Steve out of the ice. Well, I heard Hydra Cap never pulls out. So I don't know how that would work. Unless you believe that Stark Doom corrupt them so there's no Steve. Wait, can you repeat that in a different way? I didn't really understand that one, bud. Don't want to spam chat because you read my question about segment. Yes, let's see. The OG Dark Avengers run. Wait, what? God damn it! Cries count. No, that didn't happen. And if it did, tell me what issue. I need to check it out. Melvin said, or Elijah says, Judge Josh, you've fallen for my trap card. Now I can plead 3% not guilty. Overruled. Sustained. Hold him in contempt. I hate you 3000 storyline confirmed. Nice. Love it. Whose chat did I miss? I don't think I missed the chat here, bud. Whose chat did I miss? Eight to 8 characters are probably prime variants, including Doom. It's possible, bro. It is possible. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Wasn't a super? Well, then just throw it back in the chat, brother. Just throw it back into the chat. Yeah, just throw it back in then. I'll read it. My problem is with Doom letting Loki live in the battle world, with him knowing true reality when Loki being the only person that can take Doom's power. That's fair, and there's something there that we don't understand, right? Because why would Tony be back at all? I don't understand. Maestro Hulk needs to be a Dark Avenger. Hell yeah, dude, he needs to be girthy and veiny and fucking, you know. Are we going to talk about the end of Secret Wars, a non-reboot? Yes, we will. Yes, we will, my friend. You got to remember that the scoopers really getting summaries of script VFX from their sources, truncated. Yes, that's fair. That's absolutely fair, yeah. Maybe Steve does tell Doom the F4 immediately, but they decide to go to 616, and this is how Doom knows of the TVA. And later when Steve tells Thor they go back to find Loki, Doom already murdered them. Yeah, that could make sense. I still don't understand, though, why it's not immediately what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't they immediately trying to get to the TVA? Then there's a question of, like, how does Doom even get there before they do? Because he's not using their temp pad. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's just some interesting questions. I'm not sure. I feel like RDJ ego run amok in a storyline where Iron Man was irrelevant. RDJ has to be the main hero and villain. Madness. Who is this? Like, imagine being anti-RDJ. Why? Like, why on God's earth would you be anti-RDJ? I mean, yeah, he talks the talk, but that's because he walks the fucking walk. That's like, who are these people? RDJ has to make it about him. Oh, you mean the godfather of the whole shit? The guy that made it pop? The best part of the whole thing? The dude that when he went away, it was never the fucking same? Yeah. I think he's going to make it all about him. And I'm going to shove popcorn into my fucking face and love it. But I'm trying to be chill, you know what I mean? We lost whatever that douchebag was. It's like, I'm going to undo my membership. You're fucking mean. Yeah, I am. Pussy. Could it be possible that Happy Hogan will be retconned as Boris? Or has it pretty much been confirmed that it's Dr. Jensen? Nothing's been confirmed. And the only thing we know is that it's actually Strange. It's Dr. Strange. Maybe Doom has Reed in his pocket about the canon being better than dealing with the TVA who allowed the incursions despite their management. That's a cool idea, painting them as the enemy. But it's still, yeah, there's still a little bit that I don't understand there. But you guys are cooking, you guys are thinking, and that's great. You know, it's like, yeah, like, let's think this through. Let's understand that, like, because it can't possibly be that bad, right? This isn't going to be like Daenerys kind of forgot about the fleet situation. Like, I hope not. You know, one would hope they're not going to do that. When do you think we'll find out that Doom is Stark? I actually think a little bit in Doomsday, but a lot in Secret Wars. But I do actually think you'll learn a little bit about that in Doomsday, which is another thing that, like, nobody's saying will happen. But I think it'll happen, yeah. All right, let's end that segment there. That was a good one. Man, we're cooking. Whew, we're cooking today. Are you not entertained? Is that not why you are here? Are we cooking? Are we having fun today? My name is Doom. All right, no more notes. Let's get into the Secret Wars stuff. I can just tell you my fucking feelings. I can just tell you my feelings about this shit. Yeah, just spitball. No, I love that. I love that spitballing, man. That's what it's about. You know, we call that nerd venging. so that we can trademark it, monetize it, and you will be receiving a cease and desist. But for now, I appreciate that in chat. Yeah. Nice Heather shirt, Josh. Goddamn. Goddamn. You almost got me on that one. You know, and it might have worked if I weren't playing Warhammer tonight. If I weren't playing Warhammer tomorrow night. Oh, and I played Warhammer last night, so I'm in my fucking happy place, brother. You know what I mean? Bolter shells whipping through the air, plasma singeing the ground, power swords crackling with lightning, meeting ceramite armor. So good. Should we just talk about Warhammer now? The shirt does look like Heather Gray. I'm going to rip it off. Nah, I'm just playing. You almost got me, Daniel. You almost got me on that shit. Okay. One last juicy-ass segment here. Back up in your ass with the resurrection, okay? Okay, guys, so we got to talk about these Secret Wars leaks because, unfortunately, I think they're real. And, you know, we talked about them on Friday, and we kind of went through them, and I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know about this shit. You know what I mean? Well, I talked to some folks over the weekend. I watched how other people were reporting it, and unfortunately, I think this shit's is real, okay? Now, as I've been saying all stream, these leaks actually came from My Time to Shine Hello. She created this other fake account because everybody's over her. And so I'm like really confident that this is actually Shine and that she put this out on Reddit. By the way, she just confirmed herself today. Like, I'll show you this, dude. She's literally confirming her own other fake account scoops today. Let me see if I can find this for you. Because, you know, it is kind of funny, you know, if you can see through it, it's kind of humorous. Let's see here. Yeah. So I'll just show you a little bit of it. She's saying here, he got killed off screen, right? Let me show you this. It's just like funny, man. I feel like it's hand in the cookie jar type shit. So here she is confirming Loki got a story reportedly killed off screen by RDJ's Dr. Doom. He gets his heart ripped off. So like she literally like 22 hours ago is retweeting stuff. Loki confirming the leak that she put out on her other account on Reddit. Now she's doing another bit of it. So she's just trying to like give validity to the thing that she already put out there. Now here's the thing. Unfortunately, I think a lot of this shit is real. But let's remember, she hates Marvel. And she's trying to put it out in the most uncharitable way possible. I've been saying it all stream. I've brought up all sorts of examples. You can watch the other streams. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I can just tell you for fucking sure, because I've talked to her a lot in the DMs. She hates Kevin Feige, and so she is reporting this stuff, as she often does, in the worst possible interpretation to try to put a stink on Avengers Secret Wars immediately, okay? Now, with that being said, let's go back over the leaks and let's first of all consider the shocking realization that they're real, and let's also try to do maybe let's call it a slightly more charitable interpretation than Shine as to what is going on in these leaks. Does that sound okay, chat? Does that sound good to you guys? Kind of doesn't matter because we're doing it anyway. Here we go. Okay, so first off, Dborn1, My Time to Shine's other account, says, I have received an early draft of Secret Wars, which I will begin to confirm through various scoops on my other account, My Time to Shine Hello, over the next coming days. Here is a short rundown of the plot. A year has passed since Battleworld was formed by Doom. Most of its residents have no idea about the old world, with a few exceptions. Everyone on Battleworld, whose nature is medieval and feudal, believes it has always existed. Their past lives have been rewritten into roles, barons, rulers, citizens of domains. So, first of all all of that tracks. All of that makes perfect sense. And due to the other leak, the one from Doomsday, it seems like a lot of this will be established at the end of Doomsday. You're actually going to see him formulate Battleworld, and you'll see what it looks like a little bit, which is really cool. So we'll see it at the end of the movie. Most of the residents have no idea about the older world, and their nature is medieval and feudal. Their past lives have been rewritten. Now, here's something interesting. So there are barons, there are rulers, and then there are citizens of domains. Now, I would argue that some of the people that end up helping Doctor Doom, which would be the Dark Avengers, which we think just came out as an actual leak from Lego. Crazy, right? But the Dark Avengers, they're probably going to. Some of the X-Men, I would assume, they're probably going to just exist as either barons or rulers. Some of them will be citizens, right? But some of them will be barons and rulers. Now, when we look at specifically the concept art of Hulk, She-Hulk, Scar, and Scar's like, it looks like he's taking an arrow, right? And they're behind the wall on an area in Battleworld that has Hulk people actually there. I think we could see that Hulk and She-Hulk and Scar are rewritten to have the roles of citizens. Okay, citizens. Now, it's possible She-Hulk is one of the people that ends up remembering, and so she's trying to like help get Hulk to remember who he actually is. But it's possible that that will show that actual Hulk is left to be a citizen, and a dark version of Hulk, the Maestro Hulk, is very likely to be the Baron or the ruler of that realm. So that would explain why you have Hulk in the Greenland in the concept art, and yet he's wearing just average garb. He doesn't seem like he's the ruler at all. So you're probably going to have two of them. Okay. So next up it says here, however, all three Spider-Man remember the old world, as do Namor, the Young Avengers, Vision, She-Hulk, Deadpool, Sadie Sinks, Jean Grey, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Reed Richards, and Sentry. So those are the characters that are going to remember the old world. Now, most of them probably remember this via the life raft. Okay, so they exist in some kind of life raft, which will probably be made by Reed Richards, and they all kind of get brought in, and they remember the old world. We know the Young Avengers are going to be probably hanging out with Star-Lord and Wong, and they're essentially going to be doing a children's crusade kind of thing to wake up Wanda. Sadie Sink's Jean Grey is probably hanging out with Peter Parker, Tom Holland. We know that the Brand New Day movie will explain how he gets to Battleworld and why he ends up remembering stuff. Maybe it's connected to Jean. Andrew Garfield, big question mark, right? If he remembers the old world, does he remember it immediately? Is he a Baron on the old world? Is he the Dark Spider that then Jean Grey gets to remember? And then that's when he joins up with them and joins the Resistance? Because we know that Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman are going to just pop up randomly on Battleworld, and they will remember the old universe. Something to do with dying in the incursion will prevent them from having their memories totally wiped. I don't really fully understand it, but that's apparently a thing. Okay? Maybe there's another way that they can explain it, but what I'm really driving at is, even though they're saying that it's the Spider-Man and they all remember, technically it's still possible that Andrew begins the movie not remembering, but is made to remember, possibly by Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, which is another thing that, if correct, is something I called way early, where I was like, oh, wait, the trades are saying that Sadie Sink's character is also in Secret Wars. Oh, in Secret Wars, it's Battleworld with everybody not remembering their old lives. Oh, they're showing you that Sadie Sink can get past the strange spell and remember who Peter is due to her mental abilities in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh, you start to put all that together. Yeah, Sadie Sink's Jean Grey is going to be really fucking important to Secret Wars, as she's probably going to be the person that helps a lot of these people remember who they are, like Simba. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Interesting, but he's probably hanging out with Toby. And then Sentry. Here's something else we got to say about Sentry. Do you guys remember all that concept art where it was Sentry and he was chained up? Yeah, I don't think that was Sentry, bro. I think that was probably Steve Rogers. Yep. Possibly even Steve Rogers as Johnny Storm too, which is weird and whatever. But I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole because I'm not convinced that shit is true. But I don't think that's Sentry, guys. I think that's Steve Rogers, because I think this idea that Steve is under the castle and he's one of the people that Doom keeps alive, I think that shit is real. I think that shit is real. But I also think there'll be a Hydra Captain America, a evil version of Captain America, that is one of Doom's courts, that is a member of the court, a baron or something, okay? So, it says here, they form a resistance after realizing Doom is not just a ruler, he is the engine of reality itself. Battleworld exists because Doom is actively maintaining and using Loki's stolen power. But wait a second here, Shine. How could they realize that Doom is not just a ruler and he's the engine of reality if they already remembered the old world? So you can even see in the way she's writing this, that this resistance, it's not like they all just have the memories and decide to form up and form a resistance. No, there's obviously plot, probably connected to Sadie Sink's Jean Grey and the Spider Boys, that's going to get them to wake certain people up. So once they realize, as it says here, they form a resistance after realizing that Doom is not just a ruler, he is the engine of reality itself. Battleworld existing because Doom is actually maintaining it, Loki's power. That realization is going to be a plot point. They will be brought to the idea that this world is not what they think it is, and then they will further realize that Doom is the engine keeping it all together. They break into Battleworld domains. They split up, and so this would be after they come to the conclusion, they form the resistance, they're going to then split up and go into different directions and accomplish different things on Battleworld, okay? Each broken patch of Battleworld will be its own universe. That's pretty cool, pretty standard to what we understand about it. Let's see here. Doom is the manager, but he refused... Wait, what? What am I missing? Okay, so I'm a little bit off here. Let me pull this one here. So they search for weaknesses in Doom's structure. They recruit allies who are beginning to glitch, regaining memories, or questioning reality. So this is a pretty cool part of the Hickman stuff as well. There were characters that started to glitch in reality. One of them was actually Valeria. So Valeria starts to understand some stuff about, like, when the life raft pops up and it has no Doom God particles, she understands that this is coming from something outside of what they knew as the entire universe, because everything in their universe had like Doom's signature. He was entangled to every atom in Battleworld, but not these atoms. So it like immediately made her start to think like, oh, there's got to be something else going on here. And there were others too that started to question Doom and question things, but so that's kind of interesting. There'll be people that are glitching. So again, just the way it's presented is as poorly, it's uncharitable. The reality is there'll be a section of the plot that will get multiple characters that remember the old world to be convened, and they will convene and have a strategy, and they'll go out into the realms of Battleworld, and you'll have like an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, and they're all trying to like figure some shit out. Okay, pretty cool. Doom commands Army of Thors with Doctor Strange as his second in command. Totally makes sense, lines up with the concept art. He also has his Coven of Witches and, of course, Loki's stolen power. So he still has the Coven of Witches. That's pretty interesting. Do they still wear golden masks? Are they just in the court now? Did they follow Doom in order to get a position in the court? That's pretty interesting. Yelena serves as his third in command, although she has no powers. But hold on. Is this an evil Yelena? Or is this Yelena convinced to be evil because Scarlet is evil? Right? Like, this is, like, again, there's more to this. Okay, so it says Sentry is taken and is held under lock and key. So maybe that is Sentry then. But what that would imply is that Sentry is not a battery. He's not something that is needed. He's just captures a powerful entity once the resistance is out there. But what that would imply is that at some point when this resistance is formed and they go out there to do stuff, the fucking Sentry is going to reveal himself, or Doom's going to find out, and he's going to get whooped on. So that's pretty crazy. That's really, really interesting. Okay, another key figure Doom keeps is Steve Rogers, the only person whose memory he deliberately preserved. Doom has Steve and wants him to witness his victory, to see that Doom has won and built a new family while Steve has lost everything. But it's not just that. It could be more if the Dark Avenger stuff is true. It could be that he wants him to see the other Steve, evil Steve, that actually listened to Doom, thriving. You know what I mean? That's spicier to me. That's a little bit better than just like, ha, na, 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 Doom got what he wants. Fuck you, Steve. Okay, instead of directly attacking Doom, the Resistance focuses on turning his forces against him. She-Hulk gathers Hulks. Deadpool manages to restore Thor's memories. And the Young Avengers unite the mutant population. Wow. So that's really interesting. Does Thor flip on them then? Does Thor flip on them, bro? That's crazy. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, I still have a lot of questions about this because there's things I don't understand. And the way it's presented is like very surface level, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? She-Hulk gathering the Hulks, that makes sense if she's been affected by Jean Grey, and then she's going to go try to gather the Hulks, but will she be able to break through to Bruce? Will they be able to then fight Maestro Hulk? I don't know. That's really, really interesting. Deadpool manages to restore Thor's memories. How would Deadpool even do that? TVA tech? How? How would Deadpool be able to do that? Magic? I don't really know. That's crazy. The Young Avengers unite the mutant population. Well, that makes a little bit more sense as to why we got Dupe in that one section. And they're going to be getting all the mutants together. So you'll have a lot of the young characters messing with the mutants. That's a little bit of that Children's Crusade energy, because you'll probably have Wiccan and Speed, and you've got Miss Marvel. They're all like mutiny, and they're going to be messing with the older X-Men characters and X-Men variants in the mutant section of Battleworld. That's actually like cool, dude. Like, I'm down with that. That's fucking cool. Tom Holland Spider-Man rallies New York. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I wonder if it's like a lot of his villains. I wonder if what we're going to see here is the buildup of like the Rogues Gallery in order for Peter on Battleworld to take command and help all of his New York City homies fight against him. I wonder if Brand New Day sets him up for that specifically. I wonder if New York City is destroyed and taken into Battleworld at the end of Brand New Day or something like that. There's just like a lot of interesting ways that could go. I'm down with Tom Holland Spider-Man rallying New York. Reed Richards gathers the members of the Future Foundation. But like, so here's what we don't know. Like, what does that even fucking mean on Battleworld? Is the Future Foundation some highly futuristic place where Doom and his family exist? Is this where we're going to see other variants of Reed Richards, a council of Reeds or something? Like, what is this Future Foundation thing? That's really, really interesting, okay? So we're just getting an expansion of this idea that the team will split up and go to different places, okay? That's kind of cool. And this part's important. Meanwhile, Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, and Steve Rogers, who escape Doom's prison with Yelena's help, set out on a mission to find Loki. So, Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman and Steve Rogers, who escape Doom's prison with Yelena's help. So maybe Toby and Hugh go there to try to break Steve out, and they convince Yelena. You know what else is interesting? Shine said that Hugh Jackman will fall in love in Secret Wars. Does he fall in love with Yelena? Everybody's falling in love with Yelena just to spite Joshua Campbell Bluegrass. It's crazy. So they escape. They set out on a mission to find Loki. Since Doom restored everyone, Loki is alive as well, and he's the only one capable of stealing Doom's power. So it's kind of said in this leak that he had to bring everybody back. That's wild. So yeah, everybody's alive, including Loki and all of the people that were in the TVA. Man, that is like really crazy. So there's the answer. That the guy had a question about that in the chat. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So Loki is found in an Asgardian domain that has become a casino, a shady, corrupt version of Asgard. There they encounter Sylvie, Mobius, OB, and other TVA members working the casino. Loki, I think, right? I think that's what that says. It's covered up here. But I think he says Loki is the manager, but he refuses to believe their story and throws them out. At their lowest point, they discover someone unexpected, Tony Stark. He is a miserable drunk gambling away his life in the casino and initially refuses to join them. Eventually, they convince him, and then they convince Loki as well. Now, we got to stop for a second and talk a lot about this, because when I first heard this, I was like, what? Ain't no way. However, there is a way. There's actually a lot of ways. And really, when you think about it, this is a very Russo brother thing. Like, we all knew Tony was going to return, okay? And half of us expect him to return at the end of Doomsday and try to do some shit, and maybe he does still. And maybe he dies and loses, and he's like drunk and miserable in Battleworld because he remembers losing or something. Not really sure. But this feels like a very Russo brothers kind of like twist or a subversion where, you know, you're expecting him to come back and be heroic, and instead he's this drunkard at the casino that refuses to help. I could see this working, okay? And what does it actually like mean? Like, how could Tony be there? Why would Tony be there? Well, it seems like Dr. Doom put Loki in the casino for Asgard. It feels like the people that helped Loki via the TVA, like all the people that were on Team Loki, are also put in charge of the casino. And I kind of wonder about that. Like, why would Doom do that? Is that a natural thing that happened just due to his spell? Does this have something to do with Valhalla? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I like the idea of Tony being found, and he's just Tony, but he's like the drunk gambling Tony from the first Iron Man movie. But here's the thing. There's like zero in here about the Tony and Dr. Doom connection. Okay? There's like zero stuff in here with regards to that. And I still think that that connection is actually really, really important. And so I would expect that whatever was done to Tony, or like if Tony has to exist here because the spell technically resurrects everybody, maybe he has to exist there out of some duality thing because you have to have the evil version and the light version or something. But for however or why ever Tony is back, it seems like Doom has tried to make him almost a parody of what we would expect from Tony. And he has placed him inside a place where all of his own demons or his proclivities or his vices are readily available to the point that they are destroying him. And it's interesting. They say he's gambling his life away at the casino. What does that even mean? There could be way more to that. How does he even have money to do this? Is he just being continuously given money? The management and Doom just wants to keep him hammered. It almost reminds me of like when you go to a casino, the house always wins. And the reason the house always wins is because they use all these tricks, and it's basically like stacked against you. Everything's stacked against you. And so, I don't know, that's just like kind of interesting, man. So they turned Asgard into a shady casino. And at their lowest point, when they think there's no hope to get Loki, they find him in the casino and he refuses. And then they convince him. But how do they convince him? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just like way more to this. Like, how do they convince them? And then how does convincing him convince Loki? There's got to be more to it. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be more to it. Okay, so let's keep going here. At the final battle, armies from across Battleworld gather to storm Doom's castle. Thor's and Hulk's fight against the army of Thor's, while Sam leads the resistance against the witches, Doombots, and the rest of Doom's forces. Okay, so the resistance starts to work. You're going to have the Hulks and Thor fighting against an army of Thors. Dude, does that mean they overthrow the Maestro and all the Hulks then are with him and they're going to, like, there's just a lot more that could be going on there. Sam leads resistance against the witches, Doombots, and the rest of Doom's forces. So Sam and whomever is like still working with him or whatever he's in charge of, I would expect to be some of the Avengers, will fight against the witches, Doombots, and the rest of the Doom forces. So big, grand scale, epic battles happening. Reed Richards, Yelena, and Sue, who now remembers everything. Why does she now remember everything? Could it be a Jean Grey? You know, is there something else going on? Steve Rogers, Hulk, She-Hulk, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Sentry, Loki, Iron Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Tobey Maguire all confront Doom directly. So that's cool. So Reed Richards, Yelena, Sue, Steve Rogers, Hulk, She-Hulk, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Sentry, Loki, Iron Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Tobey all confront Doom. Where's Reed? Reed must be in there too, because she literally talks about Reed in the next sentence, so it's got to be Reed as well. Oh, no, it's the first thing. Reed Richards, Jesus. Okay, so all of them go confront Doom directly. That's going to be badass. Like, all of these really powerful characters all stand against God Emperor Doom, and apparently Doom's going to fuck them up. It says here, Doom overwhelms them, defeating them brutally, and they are nearly killed. Reed and Sue try to reason with him, telling him that he is grieving for his family and that Battleworld is not the answer. He's briefly convinced, but ultimately rejects it and attacks them again. That's kind of interesting. I wonder what that means. He's briefly convinced, but ultimately rejects them. Is there some other force at play? Is the first firmament possessing Doom? Is there some other force that's possessing Doom? That would be interesting to see. They are saved at the last minute by Toby, Hugh, and Tony, who managed to hold Doom off long enough for Loki to reclaim the stolen power and restore the multiverse. Again, there just has to be more to it than that. How would Toby, Hugh, and Tony manage to hold Doom off even though they all just got their asses beat? Right? Like, there has to be something we're missing in the comics. What happens is Reed Richards gets to mentally undermine Doom. And essentially, he convinces Doom that it would have been better if Reed had the power. Doom admits that. And then the Molecule Man takes the power and transfers it to Reed. So then Doom just loses. So how is Toby, Hugh, and Tony going to manage to hold him off in order for Loki to reclaim the stolen power? I would suggest that this would have to have something to do with Doom and Tony. And that Tony's going to be able to talk some shit or undermine Doom in a certain way that will get him to just be mentally compromised enough for them to actually be able to hold him off. So I don't know exactly what that is, but it'll probably be something to do with the Doomstar connection. And something that would really fucks with Doom heavy and get him to like take a second look or something. And then also they're really powerful and they're going to fight him, which is so crazy. Like, I'm really interested to see what that could actually be. So then Loki will reclaim the stolen power and restore the multiverse. But again, like, it can't just be like, he just takes it and the multiverse is restored. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, but I doubt it. I think they're going to end everything, have resolutions, and then Loki restores everything. Everything returns to normal. Loki returns to his throne, but not before saying a final goodbye to Thor and his TVA friends. Everyone is sent back to their original universe. Now, there is actually one other part. So let me find this one other part here. I think it's this. Okay. Yeah. So last part here, a little bit controversial as well, okay? Yes, Deadpool, Wolverine, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four return to their own realities and do not join the MCU. What this means for the future is unclear. The MCU continues as it was before. The TVA later get Steve Feige and their son, who is alive again in a new universe, one where they existed but died, preventing any incursions from occurring again. Before leaving, Steve asks the TVA for one favor. Years later, old man Steve is visited by the TVA. They bring him back to 616 at the end of Endgame so that he can pass the shield to Sam. After saying a final goodbye to Sam and Bucky, he returns with the TVA to reality where Peggy and his son live. The end. Now, the reason this is really controversial is because all of the multiverse is restored. Okay? And on the one hand, this is kind of shocking. By the way, one other thing that My Time to Poop on the Floor added here, they bring Tony Stark back to life. Tony's back to life, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Our Robert Downey Jr., according to these leaks, will return to the role of Tony Stark, and he will be alive in 616 in the post-Secret Wars MCU, which I think is brilliant because really the X-Men are about to take center stage. I really want to see Avengers versus X-Men. I really want X-Men and Avengers conflict, but the current Avengers suck ass. I think you need Tony to help pull that shit together, and Tony versus the X-Men would be fascinating. So I would really like that. I'm actually glad, if it's true, that Tony Stark is back. I know a bunch of little whiny people will be like, but it undoes the fucking Endgame, this, that. Shut the fuck up! I don't care about you or what you think. I only care that I get what I want, and I want Tony Stark back. Now, here's the other thing, though, that's weird. The Fantastic Four go back to their reality? You think maybe if that movie had made a couple $100 million more, that they would have kept Pedro in the MCU? Because this kind of feels like, oh, your bitch ass couldn't get to Superman's box office in 2025? Well, guess what? Now the 828 universe is just going to stay over there, motherfucker. You just stay over there. Now, that's crazy because that also means we got Dr. Doom still, but he's in another universe. So there's just never going to be crossover between Doom, the Fantastic Four, and the 616? Does that mean we're inevitably headed back to a secret war? Does that mean we're inevitably headed back to a situation where the multiverse is destroyed? Do we still get to get rid of the She-Hulk show and Gaia and shit like that? So that part is a little bit confusing. But other than that, I think going over this again with the realization that it's real and also the realization that My Time to Shine is trying to make it seem as bad as possible, I think we now know a little bit more. All right, chat, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Doesn't Tony being Iron Man ruin your theory about Tony always being Doom? No. Why would it? I don't understand. What if the real Tony Stark Prime variant is Josh? What? Alex did say He Who Remains wins by getting his sacred timeline back. He kind of does. Yeah, he does kind of get that shit back. Yeah, that's true. He does kind of get that shit back. I don't mind Tony being back, but I really like RDJ. I'd rather recast Tony, Steve, Thor, and Natasha. Yeah, it's possible they will still do that. I don't know. I don't know. When the multiverse is restored, it doesn't change anything. There was still a universe before the 616, and in that universe, he's Victor. He's changed to Iron Man, but everything that still happened. He still went through all that Iron Man shit. So he is he's a Doom variant that was adopted by the Starks, and this is just a theory. But that doesn't change anything. You know? Because basically they have a couple of different options at the end of Secret Wars. It's either restore it to what it was, which was already a fake universe, or restore it to the Prime universe. But if you restore it to the Prime universe, then everything that was new, all the stuff that happened in 616 would all just be destroyed. How can Thanos eliminate half of existence, but Doom is required to bring everyone back to Battleworld? Well, what Thanos was doing was using the Infinity Stones to change reality. What Doom is doing is a spell that resurrects everybody. And we don't know, but it's probably just and it's also multiversal. So it's probably just the confinement of the magic. You know? That ending is terrible. You don't like it? What part of it do you think's terrible? And don't just say everything. He who remains source of technology is Tony's arc reactor found floating down the river at the end of Endgame. Maybe, yeah. I just don't like the 2000s X-Men being in the Avengers. Like, it seems so random and not supported by anything in the MCU thus far. What do you mean, dude? The 2000s X-Men in the Avengers? What? Sounds like a draft more than the actual script. Yeah. It's more of a plot point by point thing. This doesn't really sound like a reset to me. I guess we'd have to see more to know for sure. What is being reset exactly? I mean, Tony's coming back to life. That feels kind of like a reset. If they do this ending and stick with Sam and Shang-Chi as the main Avengers remaining after Secret Wars, they failed to reboot. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Keeping the multiverse is awful. Brother, I got to tell you, man, I always thought they were going to keep the multiverse. And part of why is Sony. You know? Like, Sony wants a multiverse to be able to do cool shit. And frankly, like, this is how you keep Deadpool. Like, do you remember how we were all confused? We were like, wait a minute. So they're going to keep Deadpool and Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's going to be doing this shit till he's 90, but then they're going to do new X-Men in the 616? How's that going to work? I'll tell you how. They're just going to put the multiverse back. I want everyone in one universe. I will support nothing. And okay, well, that's your prerogative, man. That's fine. You could take your ball and go home. This guy's taking his ball and going home, you know? What if this is the Secret Wars Part 1 lining up with a second movie? Well, that's an interesting question because this does not leave a lot of room for a Secret Wars Part 2 unless this exact plot is split into 2 3-hour movies, which would imply that there's a lot more context that is being skipped over here. The more I thought about this, the more I was like, I like this, man. I like this. I think it could work. Obviously, though, we got to see how it's executed. We got to see what the subtext is. What are the characters doing? How fun are the variants? We'll see. So how do we get to where we are now to X-Men? Will canon be Spider-Man Brand New Day, Doomsday, X-Men? Yeah, so the way I assume it'll go is Spider-Man Brand New Day will remain canon. A lot of Doomsday will also remain canon. The events of Secret Wars itself, which is like the last little part of Doomsday and then all of the Secret Wars movie, maybe movies, will be forgotten by most people. But that will imply that a multiversal X-Men coming in, or multiversal mutants, or mutants from the multiverse, and also mutants in New York City freezing a bunch of people via Jean Grey, that, like, X-Men are a problem, man. Like, the X-Men and the mutants are a fucking problem. So they'll just carry those threads into the reset, if that makes sense. Josh, read my $5 super chat. I don't know if I want to now. You know, I can assume it's going to be a bullshit super chat. All right, let's catch up on some of these, though. What the hell? Raji says, what about the pick of U.S. Agent and the rest on that ship? No one else is talking about that anymore. I would assume they would still have their memories. Yeah, we don't really know what that was. We don't even know that it was a ship. But yeah, it seems like it was one of the arcs, right? Like a life raft or maybe a Wakandan thing. Yeah. For sure. There's a lot that we don't know about. And also, that could have just been cut from the movie, too. Star Wars Oddball says, gotta catch the replay. Wanted to say the setup is great. Doom statue is solid. I got McFarlane Magneto. Can't wait for Total War 40K. Looks amazing. It sure does look amazing. Let's go. More Warhammer love is always needed. Callisto says, I looked it up and Hydra Cap was... Oh, yeah, we went over that. Yeah. We went over that. Okay, I think we got all the supers now. Okay. All right, yeah. What do you guys think, man? Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Man, this is a long video. I'm gonna stop recording right now. Do you guys kind of understand what I'm saying about the leaks and about how there are impressions being given? There's clearly a bias and clearly an anti-Marvel thing that's happening. It's not to say that I'm like, dude, it's the opposite. It's all going to be great. No, but take that into consideration. And then when going over the Secret Wars leaks, you know, here, like, isn't it, doesn't it make a lot more sense? Doesn't it make a lot more sense? I bet this man strokes his Doom Jr. thinking, I make money and I insult him all the time. What a life I have. Ha 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 ha. No, I don't think that actually. That would be crazy. I'm just an asshole. Like I love chat, except everyone that disagrees with me. And okay, maybe I don't love chat, but I like chat, and sometimes they're nice, and sometimes we have fun together. But I'm also I am a gigantic asshole. I can't help it. You know, I'm snarky. I clap back. I'm very very rude. New Empire magazine about Beyond the Spider-Verse just dropped. Ooh, nice. Shreddy says Josh loves me. You know, I do have a soft spot for Shreddy, even though he's broke as a joke, hasn't been a paying member forever. I'm pretty sure he still somehow has the thing on Discord, which I got to remove so he can't have fancy things anymore. He lived off of gifted members for like 18 months, and then YouTube said they're never going to give him a gifted member anymore. You know, so for some reason, I do have a soft spot for Shreddy, even though he is the fucking worst. I missed your member chat? Okay, let me see. No, I read that. You must have stepped away for a second. I did read that, and I really appreciate it. Total War 40K looks lit. Looks lit as hell, man. So thank you. Appreciate it. Hell yeah. And you know what else, though? You guys forgot to tell me to do shorts today. So we didn't get any YouTube shorts going on, and that kind of sucks ass. Fuck it, we ball, though. You know what I mean? VTJB Productions with the 5 spot says, what are the chances of a new Evan Peters Quicksilver slow motion scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars? I think that'd be dope. Way to get the theater hype. That's actually a really fun idea, brother. Do that with the champions and the kids over in the X-Men land. I like that. I like that. I like where your head's at. Eat my shorts, says John Johnson. Yep. How does Ralph Boner fit into this? Actually, maybe he does. In an interesting way. Joshua Kimball Bluegrass says with a 5 spot, I'm lagging, but Deadpool restoring Thor's memories is probably the payoff to why Thor is crying on the screen of the TVA in the Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, but you're probably right, but I just can't make sense of it exactly. You know? Your prob's right on that. I just don't know how. So, guys, let me just brag a little bit about my July, okay? We'll end the stream on this. So, obviously, we got San Diego Comic-Con coming up. Holy shit. I'm very excited for that. By the way, what do you guys think the secret movie is going to be? There's a rumor there might be 2 secret movies. You think they're splitting Secret Wars up? You think they're doing X-Men? What do you think? But we have that going on. X-Men 97's rocking and rolling. House of the Dragon's rocking and rolling. And then at the end of the month, dude, check this out. Going to see Spider-Man on Wednesday with my buddy. I'll make a bunch of videos on Thursday about Spider-Man. Friday morning, we'll do a spoiler full-ass stream for Spider-Man. And then after stream that Friday, I'm heading down to Pittsburgh, and I'm having a guys' weekend. Me and my bros. I bought a suite. We got a suite. We're gonna be downtown Pittsburgh at a suite near the casino. And oh my God, I can't wait. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun, bro. So to close out July, I have a nice guys trip planned. It's gonna be really cool. Do you think Deadpool will be allowed to break the fourth wall in the Avengers movies? I hope not. But probably, yeah. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. Baby oil purchase. What the fuck? Doesn't that shit come complimentary? Josh, do you think that most of the den are chuds and or people from the Northeast? Because I'm at least one of those things, and I get it. Chat, what do you think? This is a good question. Do you think we have a lot of chuds in our community? How do I get a gifted membership? Well, if you buy your own membership, it's way easier to get it gifted. Not enough chuds? VGJ Production says 2 theories. Ralph Boner was Quicksilver from Fox, that causing the incursion. Second theory is Loki is Old Man Cap from the end of Endgame. Sorry, my brain froze. Maybe, brother. I think the Ralph Boner thing, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, not bad, not bad. You know, you definitely got your thinking cap on. I just don't know if I have mine on. Ader Chase with a $5 says, Josh, great Monday long stream. Is the Spider Noir fedora next to Iron Man? Looking for Saturday Avengers stream. More chipmunk voice. Much love. Oh, appreciate you, man. Glad you had a good time. No, that's a straw hat. That's Straw Hat from the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece. It's supposed to be on his head, but it fell off. The fedora's out there somewhere. Hell yeah. Can I go on your guys' trip? I'm pretty manly. No. In fact, I'm actually going to request that during this trip, you get even further away from Pittsburgh. So, if you're in the upper part, you're in what? You're in Florida? Are you in Florida? Atlanta? Somewhere down there? Wait, I need you to go about 2 hours south. Wherever you normally are, I need you to just make a little room. Make a little room for me and my friends. And just fucking, okay, Atlanta, great. Go down to Florida. Thank you. I saw MSW announce Ryan Gosling as Cade, but I don't give a fuck at Star Wars at this point. Oh, I was right about the Cade Skywalker thing? Bro, it's crazy. Dude, I'm so good at this shit. Can I just brag for a little bit? Just a little bit? Dude, I'm so fucking good at this shit. It's crazy. Everybody just fucking doubts me constantly. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I kind of am pretty perfect, you know what I mean? But no, seriously, I'm so fucking good at this. I've been in the game so long, man. Anyway, you're right, though. Nobody gives a shit. But it is cool the Skywalkers are back. I mean, look, to be honest with you, if you're still riding for Star Wars and you still have hope, then, yeah, that's cool. Cade Skywalker, man. Oh, little Cade Skywalker must have come from Luke Skywalker. Must have come from Mara Jade? Who I also have been telling you guys forever. They're trying to work into Filoni shit so that there can be secret Skywalkers. I mean, I've been telling you the whole thing the whole time. Anyway. If this was 2020, people would go ballistic. It's true. It's true. People would, yeah. You know what? I hope that catches fire, and I hope the Star Wars fans actually get excited about it. I just don't see how, but fuck. The kid's Ronan or something like that. That's cool. Is Josh gonna grow and braid his hair? I probably should, huh? Should I do it? Should I braid it on stream? I'll end up looking like one of Sid's toys from Toy Story if I ended up trying to do my own hair, man. It would be really bad. Luke bangs? Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, hell yeah. The way Bespin wrote the article, it's that the name is Cade, but he may not be a Skywalker. That would be disgusting if they did that. Oh, yeah, that would be some horseshit, huh? Just grow your beard? I'm trying to grow it as long as I can. I want to get a wizard beard. You know, I want like a nice wizard length. I'm thinking like down to here or down to here. And then eventually just the whole way. God, I'd like to look like fucking Walt Whitman, man. Just it'd be really cool. Okay, everybody, much love. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for being here. I thought it was a good stream. That Dark Avengers news had me fucking hyped, man. That's really, really cool. So, appreciate you guys much love. Some of these will drop as clips. Some of these, though, are kind of juicy. I might put some editing on them and put them up on the main channel. So, if you missed some of them or you just want a refresher with some fun edits, check them out on the main channel. Check them out on the clips channel. Also, what the hell? You got to remind me to do shorts on Wednesday. Okay? No stream tomorrow. You got to remind me to do the shorts. The shorts are important. We got to be popular and cool like the kids and TikTokers and all that, okay? Appreciate you guys. Much love. Appreciate you all. I will see you Wednesday morning or in some of the other videos on the other channels, okay? Now, as I always say, I hope you, that's right, you, are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. That's a good point. Josh says Tony is drunk because he figured out that he's actually Doom and he's questioning his entire existence. That's fucking perfect. I'm gonna steal that. I thought of that. I'm putting it in a video. Let's go. Sure to be a real fucking educated and informative comment from Rossi. Says, Tony is drunk because he knows he's going to have Heather for a girlfriend in the next phase after Secret was just like in the comics. I'll throw my poop, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I will throw shit. And I had a lot of corn on the cob this weekend. Oh, hey, by the way, chat, Supergirl falls back under $100 million as its actuals over the weekend are adjusted down. I'm not kidding. Back under 100 million. I gotta see, did Luis Fernando comment on this yet? Weekend actuals, he did comment on it. This is crazy. Weekend actuals came in 1 million lower for Supergirl in a disastrous second fame as the weekend just grossed 8.6. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Back under 100 million. Sucks to suck, goon, you fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. What a dumb idiot. Anyway, it's been a wonderful stream. I really appreciate all the support, all the love. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Thank you. We'll be back at it again very soon. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm just getting started. You know, the thought of me succeeding makes a lot of people nauseous. But still, I'm on the back of the boat taking pictures with the starfish. That's a profit. Not a prophecy. Appreciate you. Get on out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do me a favor before you do. Actually, make it two. Open up your third eye and wash out your stinky, stinky butt hole.